If you've ever had an excellent championship weekend, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's PreMarket Playbook. Congratulations to the New York Knicks for winning the NBA championship, and congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes for winning the NHL Stanley Cup over the weekend. Obviously, we're coming off of a big IPO on Friday with SpaceX, and today it's going to get wild again. We've got some SpaceX ETFs that go live here today. We got a special guest for you here on a Monday. We, of course, have some more news to break down. We start a truncated week. Don't forget, the market is closed on Friday in observation of Juneteenth. So we have a 4-day week this week, and that starts today. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Monday edition for June 15th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. As mentioned at the top, I hope that you had a wonderful weekend. I know I sure did. We're back for a truncated week here this week, and it's going to be a big one. SpaceX ETFs today. We've got news on a deal with Iran, and perhaps that conflict is ending. We're going to have to wait till Friday just to be sure. But all things looking green here in the pre-market. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Daniel is first here today. Daniel, welcome back. Good morning. Cheers, a toast, and a hat tip to Ryan. He was certainly right. That is a heck of a way to start off a Monday, I'll be honest. What was I right about? What are you referencing here? I was actually right about several things this weekend. Not to toot my own horn or anything. Daniel, good morning. Welcome back. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Derek, good morning. Welcome back. Derek says, morning, all SpaceX dollars going to help pay for my AC repairs. Derek, I'm glad you got those AC repairs taken care of. No AC in the summer, no bueno. So glad you were able to make some extra scratch to fix that up. Hopefully all goes well. Chuck became a Benzinga member. Zinger Nation, let's go. Chuck, welcome. Hopefully you enjoy yourself here today. Robert, welcome back. Kelly, welcome back. Crispy Biscuit, welcome back. Asrar, it's good to see you again. Welcome back. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. Smash up the likes. Thanks for all you do, Cam. Kelly, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning. Welcome back. And greetings to the Benzie gang. We'll see how it ends up here, Zach. I think one of the things, we'll wait till this candle closes. We'll go over that when we take a look at the SPY chart here today. And then also some more news here, Zach. Appreciate this. Roku, this was fresh as of this morning, right before we went on here. Roku getting bought out by Fox. Buyout is at 160. The price of Roku is actually 145 here, 146 in the pre-market. Zach, here, some more details on this. Roku shareholders will receive $96 in cash and 96 cents worth of Fox shares. So that's how the deal ends up breaking out. But nice to see that here so far. Liam, good morning. You're going to be in Istanbul. I've heard Istanbul is absolutely spectacular. Safe travels and enjoy. Let us know how it is. Free Diddy tomorrow. Good morning. Welcome back. Producer, good morning. Welcome back. It's great to have you. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Dirkus, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Bernhard, welcome back. Daniel says, where y'all golf? Dude, any course that's open or that I can get out on. That's basically where I'll golf. Linda, good morning. Welcome back. Castle, good morning. Welcome back. Libby, good morning. Welcome back. I was thrilled on Friday when they opened at my cap price. I set reoccurring DCA after my initial investment so I can buy at all levels. So you're adding to SpaceX if it comes in, it sounds like. Welcome back. Good morning. Peter, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through. Good morning. Welcome back. Alvin, good morning. Welcome back. Up 30 says Cowboys Super Bowl next. I don't know about that, but welcome back. The summer is when there's the best belief or the most belief for all the NFL teams. So don't let me throw you off there. Tyler, how you feeling with those Knicks as champions? How you feeling? Good morning, Tyler. Happy Monday, man. You must be on cloud nine. G-Cord, good morning. Welcome back. JJ, good morning. Welcome back. Just admit it, you were a trillionaire long before Elon on Friday. I wish that were true. We'd be having a lot more group meetups at really like flashy places if I was a trillionaire. I'll tell you that much. But I'm not quite there yet, JJ. Appreciate you nonetheless. Good morning. Pachi, good afternoon from Belgium. Welcome back, Pachi. Creation, good morning. Welcome back. Tawana, good morning. Welcome back. Matthew, good morning. Tom, good morning. Lance, good morning. Ed, good morning. Are the Bears really going to Indiana? I don't know. The politics here in Illinois are no good, so I'm just letting that play out. I'll tell you this, though, Tom. My seat on the couch, that'll be in the same spot. They play on the same channel, too, from what I hear. HP Darkside Hemi, good morning. Captain Cloudy, good morning. Dennis, good morning. Bob, good morning. J Bell, good morning. MG NYC, good morning. And Jim, good morning. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures are bigly green here today as U.S. and Iran have reached a deal to end the war. S&P futures up 1.31%, Dow futures up 0.95%, and the NASDAQ up a whopping 2.15% ahead of Monday's open here. Let's take a look at some cues from last session here. Most sectors on the S&P 500 closed on a positive note, with financials, materials, and utility stocks recording the biggest gains on Friday. However, healthcare stocks bucked the overall market trend and closed the session lower. U.S. stock futures advanced on Monday as the NASDAQ 100, S&P 500, and Dow Jones indices rose following Friday's higher close. Now, this also follows an announcement of a peace agreement with Iran by President Trump, which led to a decline in crude oil futures. He said that the deal is, quote, now complete, end quote, adding, quote, I hereby fully authorize the toll-free opening of the Strait of Hormuz and simultaneously herewith authorize the immediate removal of the United States naval blockade, end quote. In this truncated trading week with markets closed on Friday, investors will eye the Federal Reserve's decision on interest rates with the new chairman, Kevin Warsh, on Wednesday. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.44%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.03%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projection showed that the markets are pricing in a 97.4% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged during the June meeting. Now, I've got several stocks in focus here for you today. And yeah, the first one is an obvious one. It's going to be SpaceX. Space Exploration Technology, ticker SPCX, was 5.9% higher in the pre-market on Monday following its debut on Friday. The listing propelled CEO Elon Musk's wealth, making him the world's first trillionaire. The second stock on our list is going to be Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or ticker TSM. It rose 3.77% as it reported a 1.5% increase in month-on-month consolidated net revenue for May of 2026 and a 30.1% year-over-year gain as compared to May of 2025. The next stock on our list is going to be Tower Semiconductor. The ticker is TSEM. It rose by 5% as it signed a multi-year INP supply deal with IQE. The next stock on our list is a familiar drone name. It's Red Cat Holdings, and the ticker is RCAT. It advanced 4.79% after unveiling Hellcat, which is a small unmanned aircraft system built on its Black Widow platform. The next stock on our list is going to be Micron Technology, ticker MU. It surged 8.19% as Wolf Research hiked its price target to $12.50 from $5.50. Maintained an outperform rating. The last stock on our list is going to be Dave & Buster's Entertainment, ticker PLAY. It was up 0.3 as analysts expected to report earnings of 61 cents per share on revenue of $580.46 million after the closing bell today. All right, folks, let's take a look at that SPY chart. Here we go. We talked last week about wanting to see if we end up bouncing off of the area of the 50-day because we didn't actually print it and test it. And then we wanted to get back above this 20-day. Well, today, so far in the pre-market, On the back of the news of a deal here, we've gapped above the 20-day. But I know there's a lot of excitement out there. Let's just set the expectations early here. Number one, the details are a bit sparse on this, so we actually still want to get some of those details. The deal itself, from what I read, is not supposed to be signed until Friday. Today is Monday, so between now and then, I mean, we've seen it before. Almost anything can happen, right? So maybe let's pump the brakes a little bit on that. And then as far as today goes, let's see where this candle closes. It's great that we're above the 20-day here today, but realistically, we would love for this candle to close above the 20-day. That would make it feel a lot better about possibly attacking those all-time highs tomorrow or later this week. Now, in the event that we just rage today, another key level here is going to be the all-time high set on June 1st. That value is going to be 760.28. We're currently at 751, and we're already trading up here about 1.3%. So a number of things to look at here today. For the bulls, an ideal situation, we definitely want to close above that 20. That sets up a move for a new all-time high, depending on the news flow. For the bears, if we get some more news about the deal not going through, perhaps some strikes, maybe we end up crashing back through the 20, and then this just looks like a rejection at the 20-day. We'd probably set our sights on the 50-day at that point. But this is where we sit. Let's see how we close. So far, so good. Green arrows here today. Let's be nimble and play the hand that the market deals us, not the hand that we really, really want. Now let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. Mohammed El-Erian paints a picture of a complex macroeconomic landscape where the U.S. economy and stock market are driven by divergent forces. On one hand, economic data reveals sticky inflation pressures. El-Erian highlights that, quote, headline PPI inflation for May came in hotter than expected at 6.5%, end quote. This forces markets to adjust to a harsher reality. Consequently, investors have largely abandoned prior hopes for a 2026 Fed rate cuts and are now pricing in a possibility of a rate hike by year end, end quote. We'll see if we end up getting that. Despite these underlying economic anxieties and a notably divided Federal Reserve facing a critical leadership transition, the stock market has found immense fuel in monumental corporate milestones. El-Erian points to the massive SpaceX IPO as a primary catalyst that, quote, boosted stocks more generally, end quote. We talked a lot about the halo effect for some of the other SpaceX some of the other space-related stocks. El-Erian telling you that there's a halo effect for the entire market here. And if that's the case, we'll see how long that halo effect ends up lasting. Ultimately, El-Erian expects the market to remain highly sensitive to upcoming monetary policy. He cautions that all eyes will be on the Fed's next move to see how they frame the path forward amid an acceleration in inflation. For investors, the outlook requires navigating a delicate balance between powerful tech-driven equity euphoria and the tightening grip from a central bank facing deep needs for, quote, reform and modernization, end quote. So again, it's a good way to start the week here. Let's see how we finish, though. Lots of moving parts still, given everything that's going on. But let's take a look at the information that we do have here. We'll start with the Iran deal, which is boosting the entire market here. Late Sunday, U.S. stock futures surged and oil prices tumbled as President Trump announced that a framework agreement to end the conflict with Iran had been completed. Dow futures rose 380 points or 0.74%. The S&P futures gained 72.25 points or 0.97%. And the NASDAQ futures advanced 480.25 points or 1.62%. And that was again in the futures last night. In commodities, WTI crude oil fell 4.6% to $80.97 a barrel. It was actually back down to $80.23 this morning, which interestingly is exactly where it was exactly 1 year ago today. So the entire war premium that had been in the oil market, that's gone now. Will it stay like that? That's one of the things we're going to be watching here today. Brent crude also declined 3.92%, and natural gas futures slipped 1.92% to 3.06. Meanwhile, the U.S. dollar index, which tracks the greenback against a basket of currencies, stood at 99.568. That was down 0.24%. Asian markets traded sharply higher, with South Korea's Kospi surging 5.5% and Japan's Nikkei 225 jumping 4.8%. Trump said on Truth Social that, quote, the deal with the Islamic Republic of Iran is now complete, end quote. The president also indicated that the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important oil shipping routes, would reopen after being effectively shut down for months during the conflict. Quote, ships of the world, start your engines, let the oil flow, end quote. His statement came shortly after Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said a breakthrough had been reached following mediation efforts. The memorandum of understanding is expected to be formally signed in Switzerland on Friday. In a statement, Iran's Supreme National Security Council said all military operations, including those in Lebanon, would permanently cease beginning Monday night. Iran's semi-official Tasm news agency reported that. While officials described agreements as a framework for ending hostilities, several major issues remain unresolved. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Kazem Giabardidi said that broader negotiations would take place during a proposed 60-day ceasefire period, including discussions on sanction relief and Iran's nuclear program. That was reported by Reuters. According to statements from both sides, future talks are expected to address the fate of Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium and the long-term structure of its nuclear activities. The agreement also calls for the cessation of military operations across multiple fronts, including Lebanon, though Israel had not immediately commented on the announcement. In fact, earlier in the day, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israeli forces had carried out strikes in Beirut, targeting Hezbollah positions. So, like I said, moving parts here. So far, so good. We're going to play it by ear. We follow the news. We follow the markets. We follow all of the happenings. We're going to be nimble. We're going to use that as our advantage. Now, of course, oil's dropping here. Trump saying, let the oil flow. But as mentioned here, I know it's a good start here. Might be a little bit early. Analysts warn it's foolish to think that the crisis is over. Gas Buddy analyst Patrick DeHaan on Sunday called for cautious optimism over an agreement between the U.S. and Iran that would end the blockade over the Strait of Hormuz and bring an end to the war, leading to a smooth flow of oil. In a series of posts on the social media platform X, DeHaan said that while an agreement had been reached between Washington and Tehran, quote, the next few days will be key to see if the agreement sticks and if traffic begins moving through the strait, end quote. He then said that the agreement had led to a 5% decline in the West Texas Intermediate crude price, adding that, quote, the national average price of gasoline may continue to fade, end quote. In the same thread, DeHaan said that the national average gas price could fall below $3.75 per gallon by the 4th of July. However, the estimates were made for an optimistic timeline and also the hurricane season could be a major wild card for the rest of summer. He also stated that depleting global oil reserves due to the Iran war means that it could take months or beyond to fully restore the global oil inventories. Gas prices in the U.S. fell on Sunday, with the national average at 4.074 per gallon. That is according to data from the American Automobile Association, or AAA. The average price in California was still at $5.74 a gallon. DeHaan had earlier criticized high gas prices in the U.S., saying that the, quote, people are paying higher prices, end quote, for the gasoline in the U.S. remained the biggest losers of the war with Iran. DeHaan also shared that the next few weeks would be key with, quote, one major slip up, end quote, heavily impacting oil prices. DeHaan also warned of several speed bumps in the situation. Quote, it may be foolish to think the problem is now completely over. Time will tell, end quote. So again, good so far. Be nimble. That's what we've done so far. That's what we're going to do going forward. No doubt about it. Now, one more story here, not necessarily related to the Iran war, but we'll take a look at this. How am I doing on time? Oh, we are absolutely gorgeous on time. Okay. Trump threatening 100% tariffs on French wine unless Macron drops the tax on Apple, Amazon, Meta, and a couple of others. You could assume that if this happens, this may be good for those individual stocks as well. President Trump had issued a stern warning to France, threatening to impose 100% tariffs on French wines unless France abolishes the digital tax on American companies. Trump demanded that French President Emmanuel Macron eliminate the 3% tech tax. In an interview with the New York Post published on Monday, the president stated, quote, "I asked him not to charge American companies. And if they do, I have no choice but to charge 100% tariff on all champagnes and all wines coming out of France," end quote. He further suggested that Macron could alleviate this pressure by simply removing the sales tax. This isn't the first time that Trump has threatened France with tariffs on its wine industry. Earlier this year, Trump warned of imposing 200% tariffs on French wines and champagnes after Macron reportedly declined to join the Gaza Board of Peace initiative. France's digital service tax imposes a 3% levy on local revenue, or GAFAM tax, generated by major U.S. tech companies, including the likes of Alphabet, ticker GOOG, Amazon, ticker AMZN, Meta, ticker META, and Apple, ticker AAPL. And that raised about $700 million last year. In October, lawmakers voted to double the tax to 6%, and focus it more narrowly on the largest global firms. However, the proposal was later vetoed amid concerns it could trigger U.S. retaliation. Earlier this month, a report indicated that the EU is preparing stricter cloud computing requirements for major public sector contracts under its upcoming Cloud and AI Development Act, a move that could affect the U.S. tech giants. The proposal aims to boost Europe's digital sovereignty, reduce reliance on U.S. providers, and address concerns that U.S. laws such as the Cloud Act could allow American authorities access to data stored overseas. Trump's warning precedes the G7 summit in the French lakeside resort of Evian-les-Bains on Monday, where the world's 7 leading democracies will meet to shape policies on international trade, security, and economic issues. France assumed the G7 presidency in 2026, succeeding Canada. According to Reuters and other reports, this year's G7 agenda would revolve around Ukraine. G7 leaders will reaffirm support for Ukraine, while President Volodymyr Zelensky pushes for direct talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin on a larger European role. European leaders also aim to show Trump that Europe is carrying much of Ukraine's war burden. One of the other topics of the meeting is the Iran deal. The summit comes after the U.S. and Iran announced a framework agreement to end the conflict. Leaders will focus on the details of the deal, especially the reopening of the strategically important Strait of Hormuz to global shipping. Discussions will also cover Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs, with leaders from Egypt, Qatar, and the UAE joining the talks. AI and global economic imbalances is another aspect of the agenda. France plans to highlight concerns about China overproducing, the U.S. overconsuming, and Europe underinvesting. The summit will also feature discussions with AI leaders, including OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei, on the opportunities and the risks of AI. Another theme of the meeting is going to be the developing nation debt. G7 leaders are expected to reiterate their commitment to addressing the growing debt burden facing emerging and developing economies, though specific policy measures remain unclear. So again, we'll see what we get out of this. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if there's any spats that come from this. But that is also going on. I guess Trump is on the way. He left overnight on his way to go over there. Okay, still have plenty of time until we go to our guest here. That's fantastic. This next story here, I know we've talked a lot about SpaceX, and I would imagine that SpaceX is going to continue to dominate the news cycle here, as will interest in the stock itself. But thought that this story was fairly interesting. I know we've talked about rare earth materials as kind of another theme. We've actually traded a number of stocks on that as well. The story here, can SpaceX help save Earth from the critical minerals crunch that we seem to be facing? The global race for critical minerals has entered a new phase. Between the energy transition, electric vehicle adoption, the AI capex race, and advanced manufacturing, the demand for metals is growing and now becoming a matter of national security. The latest 2026 UN Trade and Development, or UNCTAD, UNCTAD, that report argues that critical mineral markets are undergoing a structural reconfiguration. Governments are increasingly deploying export taxes, licensing requirements, and outright bans not merely to protect supply, but to capture more value domestically through processing and manufacturing. Since 2020, nearly 100 export-related measures affecting critical energy transition minerals have been introduced by producer nations seeking to move beyond their traditional roles as raw material exporters. Quote, trade policy is increasingly being used to secure access and participate in critical energy transition mineral supply chains, end quote. That was directly from the report. At the same time, the mining sector is struggling. Easily accessible deposits are maturing, ore grades are declining, and development timelines are lengthening. The result is a supply curve pressure at the worst possible moment when demand is set to explode, or some might argue is already exploding. According to UNCTAD calculations based on International Energy Agency data, lithium is the key mineral in the transition. The projected growth in demand is as high as 353% between 2024 and 2040, and that far eclipses other minerals. Yet lithium's future is anything but straightforward. After enduring a 3-year downturn, the market rebounded strongly in 2026. Albemarle Corporation, ticker ALB, the key U.S. producer, is up 18.4% year to date, even after a notable slump in May. Global X Lithium and Battery Tech ETF, ticker LIT, is up 24.29% year to date. Still, the metals recovery didn't come from demand, but rather from the suspension of China's Jingzhou mine, one of the world's largest lithium operations with 150,000 tons of annual capacity. Quote, the timing of resumption is the single largest swing factor in the price outlook over the next 24 months, end quote. And that came from the Benchmark Mineral Intelligence, according to Reuters. The disruption exposed how vulnerable the market remains to supply shocks. China's processing chain dried up while Zimbabwe added pressure with export restrictions. Concentration remains a big factor since Australia, Chile, and China collectively account for 72% of the global lithium mine output. Beyond Earth's crust, however, the industry's imagination is extending into space. Asteroids and lunar deposits may contain enormous reserves of nickel, iron, and platinum group metals. But space mining remains fundamentally an infrastructure challenge rather than a simple supply story. Returning materials to Earth has historically been commercially prohibitive given the extraordinary costs of extraction, transport, and processing. However, SpaceX IPO last week might be one of the key steps in changing that equation. By dramatically reducing launch costs and dominating private spaceflight, the company provides the logistical foundation future space miners will require. Astroforge has already secured deep space commercial license and launched missions designed to harvest asteroid resources. Side note here, not in the story, but the Astroforge CEO actually went on a Joe Rogan podcast. It is phenomenal if you're interested in this at all. I remember listening to that and being like, wow, this sounds really complicated and way in the future. Now the SpaceX IPO is here. Maybe it's closer than initially thought. Early efforts will likely focus on extracting lunar water to support fuel production and sustained exploration during the 2030s. Long before asteroid metals enter terrestrial manufacturing, mining's next frontier may first help humanity expand deeper into space. And that indeed would be exciting. All right. I have one more news story here as we wait for our guests, but Lion, I'm glad to see you here this morning. I also have a revelation here. If you recall, Lion was telling us all last week that he was driving to New Jersey to watch the Morocco game, in which he predicted Morocco producing a 2-1 victory over Brazil. The opposite happened. It was a 2-1 victory for Brazil over Morocco, but the game was close, and it started off with Morocco scoring first, and me immediately thinking, Lion must be losing his mind right now. I also discovered that the Moroccan team is called the Atlas Lions. Lion names himself Lion Atlas and is a fan of Morocco. So now everything makes sense. Everything makes sense. Lion, good to have you back here. I hope that you had a great weekend. I look forward to all of the different calls here this week. All right, folks, I did have a great time. Okay, great. That's what we wanted to hear. All right, folks. Now, I know we normally don't have a guest on Monday, but not every Monday is a special one. And today is a special one. So we do have a guest here for you today, and I'm going to bring him on right now. It is my pleasure to welcome GraniteShares CEO Will Rhind to the show. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Will, good morning. Thanks for joining us here today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. Great pleasure.
It's no problem. It is a pleasure for us as well. Look, I got to imagine that you're busy here today, but we're really excited to talk with you. I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into it. Again, thanks for joining us. I'm sure that you're busy here today, and it's been a crazy time last week. SpaceX IPO has been crazy. Biggest IPO ever happened. That was on Friday. Let me just ask you right off the bat here, what are your thoughts on this IPO? You observed it. What do you think?
Well, I think the first thing to say is that the trading and everything else from a pure kind of operational perspective seemed to go very well on Friday. So there wasn't, I mean, I guess that to the extent there was some fears of a disorderly market, that didn't materialize at all. And, you know, I think the IPO sort of traded as well as you could expect, really, if you were on the bullish side. Today, we see shares are up pre-market. And it looks like with the Iran news coming over the weekend that it's going to be another good day for SpaceX.
Yeah, that timing is awfully good, isn't it? Timing is awfully good there. And you're right. It went off without a hitch, right? We didn't have a repeat of the Facebook debacle from years ago. Everything seemed to have gone smoothly, and it looks like it's doing the same thing here today. Let's talk ETFs for a little bit. First of all, can you tell us from your view why ETFs are important in today's market?
Well, they're super important, and especially on a day like today, because as you rightly pointed out, it was a SpaceX IPO on Friday, but it's our IPO today for the first 2x long and short GraniteShares SpaceX ETFs. So we're launching leveraged ETFs 2 times long with SPAL and 2 times short with SNK. And these are IPOing this morning, so giving investors for the first time leveraged exposure to the upside and the downside of SpaceX for the first time.
Yeah, and that's absolutely awesome. Your firm has been launching different trading instruments for investors and traders. I know I love the GraniteShares, the one for Coinbase and AMD. I think it's CONI, AMDL, and NVDL. For the levered ones, but don't grade me on that. I hope I got them right. This morning,
yes, CONL. CONL is the Coinbase
okay,
one.
I knew it, but I love trading these. For me, you know, if you're going to invest in a company, owning the shares is one thing. I love these ETFs. This has made it more accessible for me. As you mentioned this morning, SpaceX's 2x levered ETF to the bull side, SPAL, and the 2x short ETF, SNK, started trading. By the way, is that at 9:30?
Yes, that's right. So trading on the SIBO this morning. I'm sure there's already pre-market trading. I haven't checked, but yeah, that will be on market open 9:30. And I think what's really interesting about these this time around is that because this is a IPO, meaning because SpaceX just came to market on Friday, you know, normally when we launch these ETFs, a company's already established. So it already has a liquid options market. It already has, you know, other derivatives. on it, and it already has an investor base that's not subject to lockups. This is interesting because derivatives market hasn't started yet for SpaceX. So options market is not there yet. There's very nascent derivative activity. You've got a large amount of the shareholder base that's locked up, so can't sell the shares. So the 2x short SNK, for example, is probably one of the only ways that people can hedge a position right now. So if they're long of the stock or just nervous about the volatility, it's a way to provide a hedge. And that's an interesting thing to point out because normally we don't have this situation. And so we're normally not dealing with companies that have just gone IPO.
And this is another really good reason why these ETFs are important. I believe those options start trading tomorrow. Impressive that you folks were able to get your ETFs out before the option chain was even available. Well done there. I know I'm going to be looking at these today. Look, why the GraniteShares 2x leveraged ETFs?
I think because we are the leader, when it comes to leverage single stocks. We launched the first products, actually the first levered single stock from 3 times long, 3 times short in Europe back in 2019. So we've been doing this quite a while. And as you pointed out, we have the leading products in companies like NVIDIA with NVDL. So we're a brand that has a huge range of leverage single stock ETFs. That's probably what we're most famous for. We provide quality products that investors can trust. And so when on a day like today, when investors are looking for that kind of exposure, I'd like them to think of GraniteShares and the products that we offer.
Okay, and fantastic. Last question here. We'll get you out of here on this. Of course, these are not investment instruments. They're great from a trading perspective. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell investors about SPAL and SNK?
I think that there are a number of things. I mean, for people that are not necessarily as familiar, the way that these work is they provide 2 times exposure to the daily share price move. So for example, if SpaceX shares go up 5% today, you would expect SPAL to go up 10%. And then the portfolio rebalances and does the same thing again tomorrow. We call that constant leverage. And the way that the ETF achieves that is by rebalancing the portfolio at the end of the day. What that means is over the longer term, the return of the 2x ETF won't be exactly the same as the 2x return of the underlying stock. And that's because the portfolio is rebalancing every day. It's perfectly normal. I think that when it comes to these products, we mentioned a little bit about the derivative market. It's not there yet for SpaceX. But some other things that people like about these products is you can trade in the pre-market and the post-market, things that you can't do with options directly. And also you can access these products from a brokerage account, anywhere in the world, as long as your broker has access to the US market, which means that these products are really a global phenomenon. So we get interest, especially in a company like SpaceX, of course, from all over the world.
Awesome. Now, I'll tell you what, this is very, very exciting times. We've been kind of waiting for this IPO. It went off without a hitch. It was awesome. And now we're going to get right back at it again. Look, thanks for taking the time this morning, Will. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to having you back, especially if you launch any more of these on some of the other IPOs we're getting.
Ryan, thank you so much for having me. I know it's a very busy morning, but I appreciate you having me on. And I look forward to seeing how these trade today.
Fabulous. Folks, Will Rhind, founder and CEO of GraniteShares. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch up with you next time.
Thank you.
All right. So how many of you are going to be excited for the ETFs here today? Remember, options start tomorrow, but it don't matter. You have the ability to trade those ETFs today. And if you were an early investor and want to hold SpaceX for the long term for the purpose of investing, well, guess what? You've got trading vehicles that you can hit today. So one more time, just to recap, the bull 2x levered upside ETF, ticker SPAL, that's Sierra Papa Alpha Lima, and the short 2x levered bear ETF, ticker SNK, Sierra November, what's K? Kilo. Sierra November Kilo. Okay, I'm definitely going to be looking at those. I'd love to hear if you folks are looking at those. Buying some SPAL today. The market looks bullish today. All right, awesome. That was absolutely great. Let me know if you folks have any trades on all of those. Now, looking at the time here, got to make sure we have enough time, and I left more time for ticker time here today. We're going to be able to get everything done here today. I've got one more piece of news that I want to cover. Then we're going to do street tweets, and then we will turn it over to ticker time. Let's go ahead and get the news back up here. Now, let's see. Let me find it here. Now, this one is interesting. Anthropic racing to save its most advanced AI models after government intervention. Now, I know we're all using these. We continue to kind of watch the upgrade cycle, if you will, for these different models. But we'll see what happens with the Anthropic one here. Anthropic is racing to restore access to its most advanced artificial intelligence models after a White House export control order restricted their use on Friday. Senior company officials now in Washington seeking a resolution, and all of that is according to Axios. Anthropic received a directive from U.S. authorities requiring the company to block all foreign nationals from accessing Fable 5 and Mythos 5, including foreign national employees that work at the company. According to the Axios report, citing a source close to the company, administration officials believe Anthropic has, quote, not engaged in a serious manner, end quote, even though the company has been holding virtual meetings with the White House officials since the initial outreach began on Friday. Now, Anthropic did not immediately respond to Benzinga's request for comment. If we get an update, I will, of course, bring that to you. On Friday, the company argued that the reported jailbreak exposed only a limited number of previously known vulnerabilities and did not represent a broad failure of the model's safety protections. Anthropic said no researcher has ever demonstrated that a universal jailbreak capable of bypassing the safeguards built into Fable 5 and Mythos 5. The company described the directive as a, quote, misunderstanding, end quote, and said it is working to restore access while complying with the government's order. The timing is particularly significant because Fable 5 and Mythos 5 were introduced only days ago and were promoted as Anthropic's most advanced AI systems after extensive testing involving government agencies, researchers, and internal teams. The battle over Fable 5 and Mythos 5 is now shaping up as an early test of how much influence governments will wield over the next generation of frontier AI models. We'll also see if this has any impact on the impending Anthropic IPO and what those prices might look like, in the private markets. All right, folks, that's it for the news here today. Let's go ahead and knock out a really quick street tweet. I mean, y'all folks know that it's going to apply to SpaceX, right? Right? You had to. All right, here's your tweet. Now, this one might have been missed a little bit because it was actually a reply to an expected revenue tweet from somebody else. But Elon Musk said himself, I think SpaceX might be able to reach approximately $1 trillion in revenue, $1 trillion in revenue by 2030. Now, I just want to ask the group's opinion off of this right away. First of all, do you think that this is possible? Yes or no, just right on the surface, do you think that this is possible? And then if it is, if you're in the yes camp, what do you think the price of SpaceX would be if they were doing 1T in revenue by 2030? I think this is one of the reasons why this is so sought after. I think this is one of the reasons why a lot of retail wanted to grab this for the long term. I'm part of that. I definitely hope that the company can really kind of break down some more barriers. So I am all in, hoping they can get there. I just don't know if that's going to be the case. And as a result, I'm going to wait for the SpaceX shares to maybe kind of go through some type of sell-off. Maybe after the shine wears off a little bit, then we'll start building a long-term position. In the meantime, though, 2x ETFs and options all the way. Now, there are some early responses here to whether or not we think SpaceX can do this. I got a couple of no's and a couple of yes. This is what makes a market. Buffalo by Bicycle, no. The Goods, no. Stay focused. Great to see you stay focused. Yes, he thinks they can. Abel thinks yes. Joe thinks no. HGOW says yes. Man, so this is perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping. I was hoping that it wasn't just going to be on one side and in fact was going to be on both sides. Y'all folks did not disappoint with that either. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So we'll see what SpaceX ends up providing. I'm excited here for today. Let's go back to Pro real quick. Let's go back to this. Let's take a look here at SpaceX. SPCX. We'll take a look inside as we get our second day of trading here. So it is 5.6% higher. Looks like it's doing a really good job holding the pre-market level here. I have a pre-market high for those of you that are all about special or specific numbers, I should say, not special, specific numbers. I have a pre-market high here of 172.50. So that looks to be your level today. If we can crack that, maybe we get a run here today. And then as a reminder, SPAL, your 2X bull ETF, SNK, your 2X short ETF. Okay. Alex here says, no way they hit 1 trillion in revenue by 2030. That's only 3.5 years away. And Walmart and Amazon haven't even done it, selling hundreds of millions of dollars worth of product directly daily. Okay. Yassine says SpaceX is a fake elephant. A lot of losers in the stock trade flat and down. Yikes, Yassine, not liking SpaceX there. Barry says Elon hasn't been wrong yet, so yes. Like I said, this is really exciting. This is going to be a new battleground stock here today. It'll be very interesting to see how many of the Tesla traders or the folks that trade Tesla often actually move over to SpaceX, or if SpaceX just kind of develops its own cult following for the purpose of trading. All of that will be really, really exciting. So, okay, that's it for the news. Kind of light here today, aside from the deal. We'll see how that shakes out here today. But now I think we can probably just do ticker time. Let's take a look at some stocks here. Let's take a look in at Roku. I know I didn't have a story for you on that because the news was late breaking here. Roku to be acquired by Fox. Big time shout out to Zach there for breaking down some of the deals. So if you're a Roku shareholder, you're going to get $96. Zach, you'll have to check me on the numbers here. I believe you said $96 in cash and then 90 some cents worth of Fox stock per share. I don't have that in front of me. Shame on me for that. But Zach, if you have those, let me know. Here it is. Found it. Fox will pay $96 in cash per share and 0.9693 shares of Fox's A-class common stock for each Roku Class A and Class B shares outstanding. So perfect. Good stuff there. Here's a look at Roku. This is actually only up by 0.5%. Let me know if anyone's trading Roku here today. I think didn't we have rumors on this on Friday that they were talking with somebody? Let's go back down here. How about this? Thank you, Benzinga Pro. 3:17 p.m. last week, Roku said to be in sale talks, including a possible media tie-up. That initially came from Bloomberg, aggregated here in our feed. And then today, we're actually getting that. It looks like it is Fox here. So if you were a Roku holder this time, and Friday was probably a pretty good day for you, and today better still. So congratulations to all of you folks trading Roku. Now, let me know what other stocks you folks want to take a look at here today. We'll get you all set for the market. I see Acorns here asking about USO. That's a really good idea too. Let's take a look at USO. I hope nobody really bought oil long to the upside on Friday because you're waking up today in a cold sweat after what's going on. Here's what the USO chart looks like. And given the deal on this, I think I expect this to come in a little bit more. I really do. I think this is going to come in a little bit more here. We broke the trend line. It looks like we're going towards 115 here. That's where your 100-day is. Let's see. I think we had Yeah, this looks like it's taken out all of that. Lower we go here on oil. Let me know if anyone's playing this. I didn't have anything in this going into today, but I can imagine this would absolutely be a play here today. VXY. What is VXY? I don't have a ticker for VXY, Bryce. Sorry, I don't know what you're asking. Check the ticker on that. Let me know what it is. I have nothing for that. Raj wants to take a look at AppLovin. That's app APP. This has been another one. This actually up 1.76%. This should trade well on the back of that deal as long as the market holds together here. Looking at app, we're at 505 here today. So did we pop? Not quite. So we did not quite pop back into this range that we had identified. This was actually a pretty good support range that we had identified when we were trading above it. Let's see if we can get back in there. We also have the 200-day at 539.25. I'd love to see a move above that. A sustained move above that probably also gives us a golden cross here. So app actually doesn't look terrible. Looks like it's going sideways here. I would imagine as long as the market doesn't completely fall apart, this thing probably tries some areas higher. I would use some of the moving averages or the previous support and resistance areas to trigger that. Okay. Yassine was asking if there was any ARM news. I would imagine ARM's trading higher here this morning. Looks like it's up by just shy of 1%. Let's see if there was any specific news on this. Nope. I've got no news here on ARM. They did have a price target raise last Thursday morning. That was from Bank of America. They set that price target at 335. We're 50 points above that here. No fresh news here on ARM. If we go back to the daily chart here, you could absolutely make a case. ARM's going to try 400 here and then probably this all-time high. This all-time high value up here, 427.99, so 428. So ARM here, the two key levels to the upside, 400, 428. Those certainly look like the next spots here. This is a nice clean bounce off the 20. Nice clean bounce there off the 20. Okay, Amazon. And we don't even have Izzy yet, and Amazon's already being called out there. Absolutely love that. Here's a look at Amazon. Now, this is higher here by 2%. The key with this is that this recent move down pretty much came from, it's a little janky, but looks kind of like a double top here. We traded back down. We're at 243 here today. So it does look like in the move down, we printed, tested, and held both the 100 and the 200-day moving average. This, to me, actually looks like a pretty decent bounce spot here for Amazon. Now, it's trading higher here in the pre-market. I would imagine this is going to trade with the market, but given where we've kind of come in here, this doesn't look like a bad spot. 255, that's where your 20 and your 50 are. So that, to me, that makes a pretty decent target here if we can continue this bounce. But this actually looks like this came into a support level. So it doesn't look like you're catching a falling knife like you would be maybe with some of those memory names. Joe mentioning that Micron got an upgrade here today. We could take a look at the Micron chart. Remember what I was just saying here about the 20-day moving average being the support. This also looks like it's going for the highs there. This is up 8% here today. Earnings confirmed 9 days from now. That's going to be Wednesday next week after the market closes. Let's take a look here at the news, see what that upgrade was. I actually don't have it in here. What was that? Joe, what was that upgrade? What firm was that? And what was the price target upgrade? I don't have it here yet. It's possible they just haven't gone through some of those upgrades yet here this morning. Let me know what you have for that, though. Okay, and then while we're taking a look at Micron, probably not a bad idea to also take a look at SanDisk. I know this has been another popular one. Same deal here. SanDisk, this is actually above 2,000 here, $2,096 thing. How high can this go? Folks, I mean, the last time I got asked this, we said $2,000. It's $100 higher than that, though. Now, this thing just absolutely keeps running here. This up 5.9%. I would imagine that, another 200 points from here is probably not out of the question. 2250, 2300. I would imagine this could probably go to pretty easy. Yassine says, see you at 2300. That wouldn't really surprise me. And remember, none of this stuff is going anywhere. Like, there's the demand for this is going to be fine. The supply is still constrained. So this chart just continues to move up from right to left. Alex, is any thoughts on CoreWeave moving back up towards 110? So, Alex, I actually don't have any new thoughts here on CoreWeave. We talked about this last week, and we talked about really what it needed to do was hold 83. Like that was really kind of the level that it absolutely needed to hold. Now, looking at the daily chart here, let's find that. Here's where 83 was. Basically, this consolidation area. We actually have this marked off. I have a line here at 85. But 83, 85. Now, the 200-day moving average is right smack dab at 100. The 50-day moving average is at 109.5. We're currently at 105.5 here today. And we're in between some of these ranges. So I kind of think that you're in no man's land right now. We definitely want to hold above the 200-day. That would be great for another test to the upside. We do have the 20-day at 105.31, and our current price is 105.5. I'd love for this to close above the 20-day. That sets up a move and a potential close above the 50-day, which is, again, sitting there at 109.5. I would also put 109.5 as a key level here today in case CoreWeave continues to run. Your next resistance area after that, 119 to 120. It's actually pretty kind of gappy in here, I feel like, if we're able to break this 110 area. Now, you were asking here, any thoughts on CoreWeave moving back up towards 110? Yes, I think that that's probably next here. Unless this really coughs up the 20 and has some type of poor news, it sure looks to my eye, Alex, that this is going to go for 110 next or thereabouts. Okay. How are we doing on time here? We got a couple of minutes till 13. We are absolutely rolling through some of the stocks here today. Really good stuff. Broadcom. Jay Harris says Broadcom. It's been a minute. Has it though? Maybe just a minute. Maybe just a minute. Here's where Broadcom is. We actually gave up 400. Remember, we had that move into the earnings. We really kind of came in. It looks like it's trying to find a near-term base here. It looks like it's actually using the 100 as support. Here's what I'm thinking, though. This thing is probably going to need to turn around. Otherwise, meaning turn around and trade back to the upside. Otherwise, it's probably going to retest some of these levels. We're actually not that far away from a 200-day. And I know it looks like we're trying to recover here, but frankly, I would rather this try and break and then recapture the 200. I'd feel much better about a swing trade than this test of the 50 here, in which we still might get rejected. We're also beneath the round 400 number, so that might come into play here again as well. Ultimately, I think long-term with the AI theme, I'm very bullish on it, and Broadcom absolutely fits into that. So to me, this is one that is buy on dips. I'd love it around a break and recapture of the 200-day moving average, that value down at 357. Okay, what else do we have here today? Corey, good morning. I stayed up all night building code with AI. Well, you're going to need to rest at some point, buddy. You need to rest at some point there, but hopefully that went well. And then Daniel here reminding us on CoreWeave. Daniel, I should have thrown this in there. Thanks for the reminder. CoreWeave will be introduced in the NASDAQ on June 22nd. So looking at the calendar here, that's next Monday, which means forced buying for it. Okay. What else are we missing here? Broadcom, Oracle. Eric wants to take a look at Oracle, and then RCAT. We actually had a little bit of news on RCAT earlier. We can definitely take a look at that. Remember that RCAT was up after unveiling its Hellcat, which is one of those unmanned aircraft. So we'll take a look at that. Let's do Oracle first here, and then RCAT, and we'll go ahead and bring on 13 as soon as he's ready. Hopefully he had a great weekend as well. Here's Oracle. Now we're at 188.50 today. So it looks like we're basically in this gap, question mark? Yeah, we are. Oracle at a pretty key level here today. Definitely need to close above 185 3/4. That's going to be your 50-day moving average. A close above that means that the very next thing right in front of us is probably going to be this gap fill. This gap fills up here at about 198, just shy of 200. We're what, 11 and a half points away from 200. This to me seems like that's where we're going. It would probably find some resistance up there at 206. 205 is your 20-day. 206 is your 200. The round 200 number likely to produce some type of resistance. But this sure, Eric, I'd love to hear what you think on this one. This to me looks like this is trying to fill this gap and move to the upside. So I like Oracle for the Seagate project. What do you think about the chart? Let me know about the chart. Okay. And then RCAT, but you know what? Before we get RCAT, we'll give you double the opinion on RCAT because it's time for Pre-Market Pulse. Good morning, 13. Happy Monday. How are you?
Doing just fine. How are you? How's everybody in the chat?
Oh, man, it looks awesome. First of all, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Had a wonderful weekend. I'm glad to be back. We have a truncated week here this week. Don't forget, Market and Benzinga closed on Friday in observation of the Juneteenth holiday. But as we sit here on a Monday, we got deal news over the weekend. We got green arrows all about 13. A lot of good moods going on out there.
All right. Well, let's keep it going then.
Absolutely awesome. All right. Do you mind if we do a little bit of a curveball here and take a quick look at RCAT before we break down some of those movers?
Sure. We can look at RCAT.
Okay. I love how agreeable 13 is here today. That is a really good sign for the rest of the day. Now, as mentioned here, we did have a piece of news with RCAT. It is up here just shy of 5% after unveiling the Hellcat, a small unmanned aircraft system built on the Black Widow platform. So that's what's going on here with RCAT. This is what it looks like inside or intraday. So we're actually above 1150. It looks like we're holding pretty steadily here. For the purpose of a trade, I'd probably mark off the bottom end of the range here, 1160. Top end of the range here, let's call it 1175. And if it breaks out of there, maybe you can set up a long or a short trade, depending on the momentum it has. But otherwise, I don't follow RCAT like I follow Ondas, but this seems like this seems like good news here today.
Yeah, the unveiling of a new product. We'll usually send these things on a little bit of a run. We do have this gap up here over the weekend, going from, looks like we were around 1125 by the end of trading on Friday. Now here we are, 1165. So we're on a bit of a recovery. I would say that if this continues, you're going to likely run into some resistance around the $12 area. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like we've talked about 12 being a key level on the stock a number of times. Yeah. And actually, you're exactly right, 13. If I take a look here and I put my crosshair right across 12, this is definitely a previous resistance and support level. I think you're probably right. I think that's going to be the next significant area here as we're already trading above the 200.
When you look at a larger time frame, see where that 12 lands. Looks like that's kind of the bottom of a lot of consolidation. The further you look to the left, with a lot of that consolidation happening around 1250, 1260. So that whole 12 handle looks like it's going to be, it could be pretty tough to get through, given that it's got a lot of this price action in the past, where there's certainly a lot of people trapped in this wanting to get out. So I would think that this whole $12 handle between 12 and 13 is probably, if we get up there and get in there, that range is going to probably see a lot of back and forth, a lot of resistance. Not saying we can't get through it, but I think we'll see a lot of resistance in there.
Okay. Good breakdown there on RCAT. Let me know if that's what you were looking for. Who requested RCAT? That was User. What an awesome vague handle there. That's fantastic. Let me know what you think there.
For the users.
Good morning, Jay. It's great to see you. Indeed, it was a great sports weekend. I'm so happy that the World Cup is here. I've watched a lot of soccer already. All right, 13, you want to knock out some of these movers now?
Yeah, let's do it. A lot of these movers, there's going to be a whole bunch that we've traded this month already that were big movers. So expect to see those back on. Cast is not one of them. That's something that just started showing up last week on Friday. And they had news, not this morning, but on last week. And so I think that's what we're seeing here is just more of that relative volume, more of that momentum carrying over into today. Back to the Cast here.
Yeah, I think you're right. I didn't see any news on this. This actually had a pretty decent day on Friday. It looks like 7-ish was about the top here today, but we're actually holding above the VWAP. And really quick, before you go into this, I don't really have any short interest, literally 112,000 shares held short here. Don't have a whole lot. Don't have a float reading on this. Let me know if you have that. But what do you think on this one?
Yeah, so on Thursday, they announced an expanded DirecTV relationship since DirecTV is also expanding. So I know it's kind of weird to say out loud, but that's what the news that started to get this to take off. So we're still moving on that news and this the relative volume from Friday. 16.6 million shares is what I have for the float reading. The company doesn't have any cash, it has no revenue, and it's not profitable. So this is probably the greatest news this is going to get for a while, unless they do some kind of capital raise. The resistance that I was seeing on this is 475. We are above that now. Let's go back to this. We are above that now, trying to break over a trend line that I'm sure you see there. If you, I wouldn't start with the high of 758.
Gotcha.
The following two peaks, and because I think that 758 is an overshoot, so I'm not going to lean on that. I'm going to lean with where the line, where the trend line lines up more with some of these other highs, and that's going to be the one at 555 and 720. And even if you draw it backwards, you can see that it still acts as it was a trend line that was acting as resistance when we before we got up here to that 758. But anyway. This is the trend line I'm watching for a breakout. That would take us over 550. And if we can get through that, the next resistance area that I have is going to be up towards 8.
Okay. All right. I'm with you on the trend line here. We'll see if we'll break it. I am encouraged that it's staying above its VWAP, but we'll see how this does when the market actually opens here. I remember when DirecTV used to be the biggest, baddest thing. Me too. I remember when the Sunday ticket on DirecTV was like the whole reason I wanted to buy that. You helped your dad install. I remember climbing up on my roof to knock snow off the dish so I could actually watch TV during the harsh Chicago winters. But I don't have to do that anymore.
Well, all right. Hey, Jay Rice, don't worry, we've got one coming up here for you that's gonna knock your socks off.
Is it CTM?
Yeah, it's actually a $1 stock, and it does have some. I don't know about if I would say great financials, but it's a massive departure away from what you would normally see. It actually does have revenue. It has plenty of cash. It's on the verge of profitability. So maybe not knock your socks off, but it's definitely a surprise. There's some that do exist out there that are pretty decent looking. They're just very hard to find.
Well, let's just do this one first. Let's just do CTM first then. This thing popped up towards 130. It's come back in. It's below its VWAP, but it is kind of holding that retracement there. The joint venture wins position on $250 million of U.S. Navy logistics and IT possible contracts there. So it receives a multiple award contract under which the U.S. Navy will competitively award individual task orders for specific projects with a maximum value of $250 million. That's what's sending the stock higher here. It is holding higher by 48.2%. Only 4.61% of the float is shorted, 2.74 days to cover. None of those numbers are eye-popping. Float on this, 86 million. What do you think on this one, 13?
So I think that even though this has some great news, there could be limited upside because the float's much larger than than these other movers we usually trade here. So I think that's going to affect how much upside this will actually get. Let me pull my chart up here real quick. We do have resistance right now at VWAP. That's going to be at 106, 107. You might have a slightly different value on that. But if we do get past if we do get past VWAP, 110 would be the next resistance area, followed by, I would say, looks like you might run into resistance around 115, but it seems like there's a resistance every 5 cents up. You get into a new area of resistance. So yeah, 15, 20, 25, all those look like areas of resistance to me on the way back up if we can recapture VWAP. Okay.
Awesome. We'll see if we end up getting that. Let me go to CUPR here. This was a big runner from Friday. Looks like it's running again here. So, all right. So this actually ran into the same area where it found resistance on Friday. Let's see. This is a Singapore stock. Let's see. This morning here receives U.S. FDA 510 clearance for its Metafly maggots, the first U.S. clearance for Lucia cuprina maggot debridement product. I don't know what that is. Maybe you do. I'm not even sure I want to look that up, to be quite honest with you. But nonetheless, that's what the news is here. The stock is ripping. It is finding resistance at 8. This is what we dealt with on Friday. We'll see if it has the ability to get through that here today. Quick peek at the short interest. 9.25% of the float shorted. 1 day here to cover, so there's something there, but it's not crazy. I have a float reading of sub 1 million. What do you think on this one?
I think the best way I could describe what this is, do you remember the movie Gladiator?
I do.
Remember when after he had just got picked up from fighting the Praetorians, he had a big gash on his shoulder, and Jim and Hansu's character said, "Don't touch it; they will clean it." There were maggots in it. So I think that's the same kind of idea here, or same treatment. Maggots are eating necrotic flesh, preventing it from becoming infected or getting sepsis. I believe that's what this is about here. So
I'll tell you what. We'll go with that, so we don't have to look into it any further. How about that?
Oh, are you getting disgusted?
I mean, it's not ideal. Tess here says it's gross. Don't read about it.
Well, it sounds like that's what this is. I might be wrong, but it seems from just scanning over this real quick and thinking back to where I've seen that in that movie, I think that's what it could be. But do your own research if you have the stomach for it. Apparently, we don't here. Oh, Tess, thank you. That is the case. Okay, so that's what it is. It's using maggots to clean wounds. Basically. Okay,
well, it's all natural, I guess. We can be glass half full here, 13.
Yeah, well, I don't know if this stock is necessarily going to fly, get it? But
Fat Wong from the chat says my oatmeal is looking a bit different. Okay, bring us back down to earth here, 13.
All right. Well, I mean, this trading back up to where the resistance was on Friday, up around $8. So that's going to be the resistance. Let me look at the smaller time frame here. Looks like we tried to just get over that price just a moment ago. That's where I'd keep my eye on it. If it looks like we're going to go any higher, $8 is the big resistance area we have to get over. But this thing is just pushed into an oversold position. So I would think this comes back. And if it does, maybe you see some support around $6.
Okay. What about the VWAP at 658? That to me looks like the first area here if it can hold that. But I would totally agree. $8 looks like really stiff resistance.
Yours is 658. Mine's at 697. I mean, okay. With the moves that we're getting right now, we're going to have some weird VWAP readings. You could look at that as a 650 also might be a spot too. Okay. But certainly that resistance area that I was talking about, $8.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. CUPR. VSME. So this is another one we talked about on Friday, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, there was another day last week. It was Wednesday and Friday. We talked about VSME. Here, if I back out, now look at this, 13. We've got the formation of a trend line. I bet you already have this drawn on your screen.
So what I have here that we've seen run before and is moving this morning that we have seen recently is PAVs, SDOT, VSME, and GPUs. All four of those that we traded before, all having some movement here today. And speaking of movement, CUPR went down to that VWAP area, found support, and it's turning around.
Okay. Looking at VSME here, this is currently at 275. I've got a trend line here. I don't know if I trust this, to be quite honest with you. It sure looks like this needs to make it above VWAP before we get any type of constructive up move. I am noticing that the volume is contracting here a little bit in the pre-market too, so we'll see if that expands when we get the open. But this is what I'm looking at on VSME. This is another Singapore name, 2.53% of the float shorted. You got any extra thoughts here, VSME?
Yeah. You have that trend line there. I've got that and another trend line on. I'm just looking at Trendline City right now. If we can get
Trendline City, baby, let's go.
If we can get past this trend line here, which would take us over $3, VWAP is the next resistance area up at 323.
Okay, trend line on the bottom side of this too. Okay, VSME. We'll see what we get from that. All right, another one here. This actually looks like it has a piece of news, so maybe we'll break the monotony. What's that?
Earnings.
All right. Jerash Holding shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results and issued Q1 sales guidance above estimates. Looks pretty good. Looks like the impulse move took us from 346 to 10. Come back down to earth here. It looks like we're doing our best to try and hold 5. I'm not familiar with what this company does off the top of my head here. Manufacturer and exporter of customized ready-made sport and outerwear from knitted fabric of its production facilities in Jordan.
That might be the key right there, Jordan.
So we're thinking this is moving with the straight deal plus earnings.
Moving with the whole, with the the de-escalation.
Listen to this. The company manufactures for retailers including Walmart, Costco, Sears, Hanes, Columbia, Land's End, Philip Van Huysen, a bunch of other brands. The North Face, Nautica, Timberland, Wrangler,
Lee. Yeah.
Lee. So this is JanSport. So this is actually connected to a lot of brands that we know here. Pretty big pop, pretty big regression back to the mean. What do you see in the chart here? 6 maybe we should take a look at prior to looking at, maybe 10 or something like that?
I have 550 as resistance prior to VWAP.
Okay.
So the company actually was expected to post an EPS loss of 1 cent. They beat by 12 cents. So nice 13-cent reversal there.
Awesome.
The company has started to report profitability. It does have revenue. Seems like they've got plenty of cash. So this is a pretty decent looking company here. I don't think I've got a whole lot more to add.
That's okay. It looks like it is trying to battle with its 15 EMA here on the 5.
Yeah.
See if it costs that up.
I don't have any trend line or anything I could really tell you. It's really just, that if it could recapture 550, VWAP's going to be next. And then let's see, after VWAP, I would say 750.
Okay. All right. That's probably the best of the movers here.
Yeah. Otherwise it's PABs, SDOT, VSME, and GPUs.
Okay. I mean, I suppose we can run through those real quick if you want. Here's what PABs is. Remember the run that this thing made. This thing's 48 cents. SDOT was another one that you said?
Yeah, SDOT, that was a runner from last week as well.
It's like this doing its best to hold on to 20. What else do you have?
I also had, we saw VSME, and then GPUS was the other one.
GPUS, that's the other one. Hyperscale data, 22-cent penny stock. Where's Rustam when we need him? Where this actually, just the formation of the intraday chart here, looks like this is going to try and push higher here.
And the only reason that I even brought up GPUS because this is one that we've traded many times before it came down underneath the dollar.
No question.
But it does look like this is trying to get over 25 cents.
It does look like that. All right. And then 13, I don't know if I know that you were, I'm not sure if you caught the interview earlier, but SpaceX levered ETFs today, SPAL, your 2X long, SNK, your 2X short. We'll see how those trade when they open here at 9:30.
CUPR still going. 1036 is now the high. So that VWAP that we talked about was really good support.
And then it broke that resistance and popped here. So CUPR, big move higher here.
Yeah, let me see where this maybe goes. We're still climbing.
Yeah,
now,
really are.
I think that if this continues as we get into the open here, you're going to see a big pull.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I think the joke's right itself at this point. This one having news on that maggot debridement, this thing is flying.
I'm 13. I absolutely love it. I would never get tired of that. Jay here saying SpaceX. I have to say that was a great IPO, something for everyone in it. I totally agree with that. It went off without a hitch. Everyone seemed excited. It seemed to raise the mood for everybody. It definitely seemed like there was something for everybody in there. I'm going to be watching how it trades. It's going to be another one of those stocks added to the list here for daily monitoring. All right. 13 is your. Go ahead.
It was SNK. That's the short. What was the long one?
SPAL, Sierra Papa Alpha Lima.
That's right. SPAL.
And they start trading at 9:30 per will.
Okay. All right. I want to make sure I had those on my list because I'm sure I'll be taking a look at those, if not trading them. Wow. CUPR. Really nice move all the way up to 1167.
I have 1181 as the high print, actually. But just a massive move there. Great call, 13. Great call on that. Okay. Is there any stock that you want to take a look at here real quick?
No, whatever you guys want to look at. There's so much to look at right now that I only care about what you want to focus on.
Okay, perfect. 13 is dedicating himself to you folks here today. Be sure to smash up the like for that. We really appreciate that. NVIDIA is getting mentioned here. Sky is getting mentioned here. NIXX for AI infrastructure is getting mentioned here. The Lion Basket of MU, ARM, and Marvell getting mentioned again. Any one of those you want me to put on? I'm going to step away for just a moment. Yeah.
So P-Sky, I guess we could briefly talk about it if you want.
Let's do it. Bringing it up here.
Yeah, I didn't see this. So apparently they won the Department of Justice approval for the merger, which was a massive hurdle. I think this still is going to be subject to different market scrutiny, like different countries. I don't know if they've received the okay from like the EU or China or a bunch of other countries. I think that's still a hurdle, but the DOJ was a very big hurdle. The UK. So it looks like the UK is going to be okay. So the UK is still standing in the way. That's what I was getting at, is which country is going to stand in the way of this merger. Looks like it's the United Kingdom right now, and it also looks like it is going to be the European Union as well. They are going to be reviewing that in July. So we're not out of the woods yet with this, but that is a massive, massive hurdle for them to get past. And yeah, I don't know how this is going to trade in the interim. Let's take a look here at the chart anyway. So we have this attempt to try and recapture the 50-day SMA. That didn't happen. We're still holding above the 20-day SMA. So this is a little bit of a limbo area here. Could see a lot of back and forth between these two moving averages until we finally break out or beneath one of them. So Ryan, I was just talking about how this Department of Justice gave the okay for the merger to go through with Warner Brothers, but there's still some regulatory hurdles from the UK and European Union, probably elsewhere, that the company has to get through. And just so everybody understands, they need to clear these regulatory hurdles, because if they can't, then their content can't be showed in those countries. Basically, what it comes down to. So right now, we're just waiting to see if this can reclaim the 50-day SMA. That looks like the next big resistance area. We couldn't get past it on Friday. Maybe today is a different day.
And so as far as like the read through on that, this is a good first step, but
yes,
more steps need to be taken for this to fully be real. Got it. Okay, great. Good stuff there on PSKY. Thank you, 13, for taking a look at that. That's awesome. What do we want to do next?
What do we want to do next? Let's see what all these movers are doing right now. I'm just going to cycle through them real fast. Looks like CAST is trying to, this went down to the 65 EMA, turned around, trying to push back up towards the trend line that we drew. Maybe if it can get past the seller at 520, we can get a breakout here of this trend line. Just going to look at some of the space names. Looks like
real quick here. Anne-Marie, good morning, Anne-Marie. Happy Monday. If oil starts bouncing off the 80 level, and by the way, oil is at 80.59 right now, printed a low of 79.70 earlier this morning. If oil starts bouncing off the $80 level, we could see the market pull a wee bit here. So this kind of reminds me of when we first saw that this relationship existed. Jay was telling us, just watch. If you want to know what the SPY's doing, just watch oil. Looks like that relationship might be set up again here. $80 looks to be your key level there, Anne-Marie. Oil holding lower here by 5% in the pre-market.
AST is on sale because of SpaceX. What's ASTS looking like right now?
Bringing it up. Asking you shall receive. 8 more minutes till we open here today. Here's your Astis chart. It's up 4.77%.
Okay, so this is down, getting support from two different spots here. One is the 200-day SMA and also a trend line that, Ryan, if you want to draw it yourself, this is a trend line that starts from the high of January 30th, and I've drawn it through the high of April 14th. And if you keep it going, we're down there testing the support right now. January 30th and April 14th.
Got it. So you have this here through this here, and we are testing this right here.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So this is where I think the price needs to hold up. And if we do get this support here from the 200-day SMA, the following thing that needs to happen is a recapture of the 50. That'll turn this thing around, at least for a time. I don't know what's going to happen once we get to 100. That looks like a pretty stiff resistance area. But that's a price action that for a reversal you'd want to see, especially coming down. What is this percentage here? Coming down off this high that it made. We're down like 35, 36% right now. So having fallen that much, you want to see some support start to kick in, especially at a major moving average like the 200. So if you do get that turnaround, those are the different things that need to happen. Just still a big question mark for me what happens at 100. And it's going to be a big question mark for me until there's some indication that there's going to be a future for this company with SpaceX, competing against them.
Okay. Stay focused here says, Ryan, does JRSH report before the large brands it services do? That is a good little project to take a look at here. Let's take a look at JRSH here. As far as the earnings go, this was this morning. So report before the others. The next one here is going to be scheduled for about early August, first half of August here. We would have to look through. You know what I might do, stay focused, when I have some more time off camera? I might just make a quick list of those companies that it does business with, mark down their earnings dates, and then take a look and see where that falls in relation to their next earnings.
I can tell you that some of the retailers that they that sell the products have already reported before them, like Walmart.
Yeah. That is an AI question. Absolutely, Zach. AI can knock that out with the quickness here. But that's a good thing to think about. Stay focused. That's a good mention here on one of our movers here today. Stay focused. By the way, how are you doing with that Nick Championship? How are you doing with that Nick Championship? Got to be pretty excited. Got to be pretty excited. Okay. How much time? 5 minutes. What else do we want to take a look at? RIG being asked here. This is AppCap looking at RIG, ticker RIG.
Well, you pull that up, Jay Rice mentioning that Fugazi Research put out a scathing report on some of the space names on Friday, and ASTS was one of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if you watched that video that I posted in the Happy Hour chat, but
all I did this weekend was watch sports. And I went outside. So
all right. Yeah, I think that SpaceX is just going to continue to cut into ASTS's business. And it's funny because ASTS is using SpaceX to get their satellites launched up there in the first place.
Here's kind of like my thought on some of these, because I did think about this a little bit on Friday when I had some time. My thought is that SpaceX is very clearly going to be the best in breed. So now that it's out, I feel like it's going to suck up all of the air in the room. I would not even be surprised. When we were talking about the halo effect, I think one of the things that I liked so much was that halo effect was evident going into the IPO. Now that the IPO is here, I would not be surprised if SpaceX just sucked up all of the air in the space room, if you will, for a time being. Now, long term, in 13, we've talked about this. There are some of these other space companies end up working with SpaceX, do their own thing, and they're going to trade on their own story. There's no doubt. But in the immediate term here, I think it might just kind of be the newness of SpaceX might just take all of that oxygen for trading. If that does in fact play out over multiple sessions here, that actually might give attractive entry positions on some of these other space names if they end up moving down. But something we'll have to look at on a case-by-case basis. I
think I agree with you, with the one caveat being that the names that are very closely associated with SpaceX, like SpaceX pays these companies, those companies I think might not see as much of an effect. So that would be companies like Lind, Stabilis, ST Microelectronics, Velo 3D. The ones that SpaceX is paying to have their components made, or their cryogenic, fluids delivered. All those companies, that the 3D printing, all that stuff that SpaceX depends upon, I think might not get hit as much. That's what
I think that tracks. That sounds about right to me. Okay, little bit of a turn up here in the futures. We're actually near pre-market highs as we speak. Apple near pre-market highs as well. SpaceX near pre-market highs as well. Jay says, I own 2 space names now, IRDM and SpaceX. Sounds like you own some of the best in breed there.
Yep. He does.
Chris says, Ryan, I agree, but what is the one and only electric car company that hasn't gone out of business? Clearly, Tesla is the best in breed, yet draws a lot of hate, although I don't trade it at a high multiple. Yeah, but I think, but Chris, think back to when Tesla was the new hot thing. I feel like that stock went up every day, right? And I'm just wondering if you get a similar type of effect with SpaceX. That's all. All right, we got less than 2 minutes till we open.
Speaking of Bello, that just had a jump.
Which one? A Velo?
Yeah, I just had a jump right before we opened here. I just brought this up on my screen, and the front handle just jumped.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Can we just take 1 second to just marvel at how good the $15 reload spot that we talked about was here? Yeah, I know it didn't quite print 15 on the head. Oh, maybe it did one day. But I'll tell you what, that $15 area, shame on me for not re-adding here. We talked about it multiple days. Thing doubled in the course of like just a handful of days from that. Shout out to that. That was a really good mention.
Yep. Oh, we got less than a minute. Actually, we got
let me flip over to the main workspace. We'll get ready here for today.
Let's have a morning, folks. Let's have a morning.
I am excited. I'm excited to be back. Had a great weekend. Excited to be back. Truncated week.
Arcat is going to open right at the highs of the pre-market with its resistance and a big seller in the way. And then
all right, we're open. I'm refreshing.
All right. Let's see what we got here out of the gate. CUPR might pull. Let's see what else is going to. It looks like JRSH is trying to push higher. Every time it does that, it seems to be met with sellers, but it isn't losing this $5 area. That's going to be a big support level in JRSH. Looks like RCAT did burst up to 1182, came right back in immediately. CTM went down to the 65 EMA. It's getting support there. See if CUPR comes in or not. It looks like it dipped initially and came back up.
Here's PAVs. I know this was a penny stock, but it was one of the movers here. It looks like that's actually rolling if you're interested in that. Oh, those Tesla calls. Those look a little bit small. Tesla moving to the lows. SpaceX to the highs.
Yeah. RCAT not moving very fast, but still holding above 1175 for the moment.
This is RCAT that you're talking about?
CUPR dipped initially, but then it said we're not finished, and now it is printing 1221.
Someone mentioned Hood. Oh, by the way, S&P futures and SPY straight up out of the gate. NASDAQ, Dow, SPY, all higher here. Everything moving up out of the gate. Still outside of the trade windows on my 0 DTE indicator. I'll let you know if I get any signals on that.
So SpaceX out of the gate here goes to 175. If you're not familiar with the different lockup rules for this company, this 175, particularly 175.50, is a very important level, and here's why. The way that this lockup period for restricted units works is that it's staggered, and the first up to 20% of the shares could be unlocked right around the time of Q2 earnings. It'll be after Q2 earnings, but if the share price is trading 30% above the IPO set price, an additional 10% of shares will also unlock. That 30% above the share price is going to be 175.50 because the IPO share price was 135.
So by its first earnings, which is early August, this thing, if it's above 175.50, will have more stock available. Is that more stock unlocked?
It has to trade above that price, at or above that price, for 5 out of the 10 trading days, during that earnings period. Once that happens, an additional 10% of the restricted shares will unlock in addition to the already up to 20% that could unlock with the post Q2 earnings.
Okay. Okay, so 175.50 is going to be an important level to watch, especially into August. Then that's what that sounds like. Okay,
absolutely.
Cool.
Yep.
Market continuing to push here, by the way. 753.06, your high there on the SPY.
CUPR is halted to the upside at 1263. So we didn't get a whole lot of selling. We just got a quick dip and then a rip.
It looks like I think JRSH also halted here. So
halted to the downside.
Yep. Indeed. So that didn't even make a run at the VWAP and just pulled.
It looks like there's a lot of stuff that's just pulling right now.
Yeah, it looks like, well, except for the market, that is still at the highs. Some individual names pulling. Velo turned around. That pulled. Netflix at the highs. Yeah. Apple pulled a little bit. Amazon at the highs. Bitcoin actually at the highs. First mention of Bitcoin here. 67K on the futures. We actually printed above that briefly. SpaceX actually turning around a little bit here.
Looks like some of the quantum names are doing pretty good this morning. You have Inflection.
INFQ.
Yep. And Ionic. Those are also up. Let's look and see what Quantinuum is doing. That's down.
That's the recent IPO too, right? Mm-hmm. QNT.
Mm-hmm. What else?
How's Rigetti doing? I know we also like trading the ETFs on that one. Rigetti straight up out of the gate and away from that 2150 key level that we've identified a few times.
Yep.
Lion here saying MU is going to go back to 1100. We're not that far away. Here's what the MU chart looks like. Looks like it tried to pop a little bit out of the open and turned around here on MU.
Ionic continues to climb.
Tesla calls, although not a whole lot of them. REM calls. I don't really see anything terribly interesting off of the unusual options here. SpaceX popped out of the open and turned around. Micron also back down here a little bit.
Wow.
VSME testing VWAP. That did not have the strength to get through it. What do you got?
I'm just watching Ionic just rip right now.
IONQ, that's in your quantum theme.
Yeah, Inflection and Ionic are just taking off right now. It's looking pretty good. They're needing recovery, but that was a nice move out of the gate for them.
Yeah, that is a nice move out of the gate there. Nuclear and metal names are up. Let's take a look at SMR. That's up by 13.25%. Indeed. How's Oklo doing?
Looks like RCAT wants 12.
Okay, so we talked about that this morning too. Let me go back to RCAT here. You're right about that 12 spot. And we'll see what it does after that too. Market's still at the highs here. Sorry, 13.
No problem. ARQQ, Arcit Quantum up 23% says Libertas. Let's look at that. ARQQ.
ARQQ is the ticker?
Yeah.
Okay.
This coming off of a bottom. If you look at the daily chart, that's nice. Must have been one of the quantum name that just hasn't gotten going yet. Let's see here. Cybersecurity company. That's probably why.
Lion here says the market is ripping, Ryan. Indeed. So let me ask you, Lion, the deal's not going to be signed till Friday. It's obviously ripping on the back of the deal. What do you think is the next move here for the market? And I know I asked Lion, but I'd ask the entire group that. Let me know what you think. Jay mentioning that Roku went red. Market really didn't love that deal, did it? Roku red by $1. I don't know if you saw. Roku's going to get bought by Fox 13. But it's $96 per share and then 96 cents per share worth of Fox stock. Market did not love it.
Yeah. That's That sucks. Okay. Gosh, I don't know how that's going to work out. $96 a share is what Fox is paying. Yes.
I'll read it just to make sure I get it right here because I don't want any typos here. Let me read you. Fox to acquire Roku for $160 per share in cash and Class A common stock, implying a Roku EV at $22 billion. So directly from the press release here.
Okay, I thought I heard the amount wrong. So 160. That's well, I can see where that they got that figure from.
Here it is. Fox is acquiring Roku in a cash and stock transaction. Fox will pay $96 in cash and 0.9693 of shares of Fox Class A common stock for each Roku Class A, Class B share.
Let's see here.
Now, I wonder if Fox is FOXA, right? Fox A.
Well, you have Fox and Fox Corp. Fox, I mean, I don't
so
know
Fox
which.
A is actually getting whacked on this. This is down by almost 17%.
Yeah, this must be the one then. What is Fox then? I thought that was the same company.
So you get 0.96%, right? You get almost a full share.
Oh, FOX. Yeah, FOX is the Class B. FOXA is the Class A.
Okay. Line here saying the market is liking the deal with Iran, so we should see market continue to the upside for a few days, but we'll watch and see what happens there. You're wrong about the real boss thing. That's been proven a number of times. We've covered that. But we'll see how the deal ends up shaking out there if it lasts. Remember that signing is on Friday. Anything can happen between now and then. How's Cast doing?
Not great.
Cast really couldn't get going. That's beneath its VWAP as well. CUPR broke its blue sky. Oh, is that halted again? Here, second halt, CUPR. Was this a downside halt, though?
Let's see here.
I think
yes,
it was. Yeah,
it was because it popped up to 1457 and came right back in out of that last halt.
Velo is pulling. SpaceX is trying to hold 170. And Bitcoin pulled off of its high. Market actually stopped trading up, but so far is also holding above the 9 EMA and the VWAP.
Yeah, I'm just trying to read a little bit real quick into this Roku deal. So Fox, Tubi, and Roku all under one umbrella now, it looks like. I mean, what's the thought here to create a sports streaming, powerhouse? I'm not sure here.
Yeah, I don't know what the long-term thought on that is. That's actually a good question.
Yeah, right. I'm right there with you, Frozen.
I don't understand the Roku TV hype. I have the worst experiences with their products. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure that I have the greatest experience with Roku products either. They're normally the cheap TVs found in Airbnbs. Bitcoin pull, indeed that is. And actually the market came back in a little bit. I did get a buy indicator here, or buy signal, excuse me, on the 0 DTE indicator, 753.46, your high print of the day.
I feel a little silly just even thinking about this, but Fermi's been looking pretty good, especially with all the pushback. I know I mentioned this a while back, but with all the pushback from different communities about this NIMBY effect of having data centers pop up around them, and hammering electric bills and this and that, it seems like companies like Fermi are starting to get a little bit more traction. And what I mean is companies that already have pre-designated campuses that are already undergoing a build out. They're going to have their own power infrastructure that are going to be solely dedicated for data centers. And I don't know exactly if this Fermi campus is far enough away from all of this different residential areas, but I think with the fact that we already have it getting built out now is a good sign. I think you're going to see a lot more of an appetite for these campuses, these hyperscaler campuses, if you're getting all this pushback from communities about data center build-outs in their area.
And are you looking at ticker FRMI here?
Yeah, because this is one of them.
Yeah. So let me just ask you just outright here. You think this just kind of looks like it's basing here? You think the bottom is in?
It might be.
Okay.
I think I need to see a recapture of 8 and kind of hold above that. That'll be the step number 1. So let's see if we can get all that. It did have a silver cross recently. Remember, the company, I talked about this earlier in the year, they are not expecting revenue until later this year, like 12 months from when they started trading. So it's there's certain risks involved, but I think the theme is starting to emerge as something that could be really, really good here. A lot of attention getting paid to this, especially by people that are having data centers built up around them.
Anne-Marie here says, I suspect a fade as a breach will force an unwind of the heavy shorts, and I don't think they're ready to do that.
This is
Anne-Marie?
Is this in which one?
I think she's talking about the broader market, right, Anne-Marie?
Okay.
Kathy mentioning Cast here. Let me go back to that. Sorry, I took it off the screen here, Kath. Here's Cast. Looks like it's trying to battle its VWAP, huh? Let's see what happens if it can get above that. Yeah, she's talking about the S&P futures.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so Cast here trying to so recaptured at 65, trying to recapture VWAP. The toughest spot for this one this morning, going into the open has been 525. It seems like the couple of attempts that it's had up there gets rejected every time. So this next attempt up there, we need to see it need to break through this trend line and that 525, or else we could get rejected and come in lower.
Okay, we'll see what Cast does. It is right at that spot.
RCAT through 12.
Oh. And actually, what was the resistance from this? Okay, so this was the pre-market on Friday. The resistance area there was 1220. I think that's going to be your next spot for RCAT. See if 1220 falls. Looks like SpaceX trying to turn around. Tesla's trying to turn around. I'm actually seeing Tesla contracts on both sides, right? So Tesla calls and puts here. Here's a look at Tesla's chart. This is trying to go higher.
Jay, that's, I think, certainly the case. I think that it's completely true, as a matter of fact. Now, with respect to what Frozen King said, be that as it may, people are looking at their electric and utility bills go higher as these are getting built out. So they're making this correlation, and it's putting this in their head. It'd be very, very hard to shake that idea. So it's going to have to be, for the time being, it is what it is. And I think because it is what it is, that you're going to see these hyperscaler campuses start to get more attention. So it's just a theme. I'm not saying that Fermi is going to be a fantastic company to own. I'm just saying we could have a trade on our hands here based off this NIMBY.
Anne-Marie saying, if we break these early morning highs, we could have a savage upside move. Anne-Marie, I suspect you're again talking about the market here. The high print we have in the S&P futures is 76.16, and the high print we have in the SPY is 753.46. We are not far away from either of those. Does actually look like we're getting another rip to the highs here. NASDAQ at the highs. The Dow pulled off of it a little bit, but things looking good here.
SpaceX coming up for another attempt at 175.
SPCX. Is anyone trading the ETFs on this? Let's see if I've got them in pro here yet. SPAL, here we go. SPAL 2850. SNK was your other one. Let me know if any of you folks are trading these ETFs. Lion says, I want to agree with Anne-Marie, but I think the market was looking for this relief rally and is going to not go easily. Is going to not let it go easily. The market was definitely looking for this rally. I think all of the talks about the potential deals being signed and the pops therein from that kind of showed you that the market was waiting for this. Now that we've got it, again, what I was saying at the beginning here is, does it hold? We'll see where the closing candle is. But I think I'm on Anne-Marie's side here. I think if we break this high, the market might try pushing higher here. See if there's anything else that VIX down to 1630. So I guess if you think the market's going to reverse, perhaps protection being cheap might be another way to go.
Just getting a mention that JRSH is setting up. It looked like it was trying to turn around here. If we can get past this 550 area, which we tried to just before we opened, couldn't do it. But if we can get past 550, this might be able to take on the VWAP.
Zach, market pops today, but it won't hold. Zach making the call there. The next catalyst on Friday. Zach, how convenient is it that the next catalyst happens on a day when the market is closed?
I don't know that I think that's the next catalyst. I think I'd be looking at the FOMC meeting. That's going to be the that starts tomorrow, and we get our rate announcement on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's probably going to be no change, but this is the first meeting with Warsh as the Fed chair, and there could be some interesting things said.
I was going to say, don't you think the devil's kind of going to be in the details with this? With it being Warsh's first Fed chair, the conference, how he answers questions, the tone, the language he uses. I think there's going to be so much of that, 13.
I'm not discounting that Friday's going to have a big catalyst, but I think this is the next one to watch.
Yeah. I think he was specifically talking about the war, but you're right on that.
Oh,
you're absolutely right on that. And get ready for Fed watchers analyzing all of this stuff and then having their own impressions. What's different from Powell to Warsh and all of that stuff? We're going to get all of that here.
Probably we won't hear the word transitory. Just
actually
throw that out there.
It's funny. They had Tom Lee on the morning call this morning, which is CNBC's really early program. He said the word transitory and then backed away from it, which I just thought was interesting.
Got you, Zach. Okay, I'm just thinking of the broader market. I thought you I thought you meant the broader market too. You meant Iran. All right, I got you.
The call, Joe. Are you ready to monitor the color of Kevin Warsh's tie on a regular basis? Tell me you're ready for that. And we're all waiting for a speech. Totally agree with you, Tess. Good to have you back, Tess.
Yeah, I want to see what he says. I expect to hear some stuff about quantitative tightening. We have another upside halt in CUPR.
Let me put that on screen here. Sorry, I took it off. I was just leaving JRSH there. Upside halt 1330 on CUPR. Lion says, Ryan, I think Trump is going to be nice to get the deal done. So that's part of the equation, Lion, right? Between now and Friday, you've got whatever the Trump wild card is going to be. But you've also got the two factions in Iran, how that's going to be. I think there's a lot. I think that's why at the beginning of today, I was trying to emphasize both sides here, maybe be cautious. It's not done yet. I know Vance was on CNBC saying the deal is signed digitally. I still think Friday, just to kind of Zach's point, and let's get to Friday and have everything still be aligned, and then we'll make.
Let's see if this can just last 3 weeks, because I think that's really what we're after here. Just getting through America 250, and then we can drum up the bullshit again.
I love it. 13 just says it how it is. Yeah. Just says it how it is here. Okay. RGNT also got mentioned here. I'm sorry I didn't go to it. Here it is. This is actually in an upside halt too. Real quick, the halt times for those of you that are watching these, RGNT halted at 9:50:17, so we're looking at 9:55:17 as the resumption time for that. CUPR, that was halted at 9:50:40. I believe the last two halts that it was in were both 5-minute halts. We're expecting the same thing here so far until otherwise.
Let's see.
Apple calls, although I'm not sure those are notable. STX calls. Let's see what those were.
SpaceX came up close to 175 again, reversing.
Oh, it's almost as if that 175 level you talked about is important, 13.
As if it means something, right?
You guys think we break 175 here? Might try a little SPAL on that.
Okay, so exactly, Zach. Like, there's still a lot that's gonna have to be worked out. They both, I think that's true.
I agree with that too.
And There's a little bit more nuance to it, but I think at the surface, that's what it comes down to. We both want this deal. We'll see. We'll see what happens here.
Yep. The news cycle is never going to end. Let's face it. But the market looking good here. SPY at the highs. Now we did break that high, Anne-Marie. So if we go back to the SPY chart here, let me load that up. And let me know if any of you folks are trading SpaceX here today. Even if you're adding it for investment purposes, I'd love to know here from the group. Here's the look at the SPY chart. The first high, Anne-Marie, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but the first high that we made was in this 935 candle. That value there was 753. Let me get it for you. 753.46. We just plowed through that. 754.09, your new high print. So is that a break? Is it now the savage move that we're looking for?
Looks like so far, based on 2 days of price action, 170 is a support area.
VS1 Diamond. Oh, I love that handle. That is a really good clarity rating there for a diamond. If we break 175, no way the 180 support gets broken. So I think you mean the 180 resistance. So you're thinking if we break 175, we're likely to stop at 180. He goes on to say low key waiting on SpaceX options. Well, you won't have to wait long. Those come tomorrow. I think there's going to be a lot of SpaceX option trading going on when those are released. Anne-Marie, I don't, not to throw you off whatever your plan is here, but maybe looking at SpaceX options tomorrow on our segment. Kathy says, I'm holding SpaceX through the lockup. Might add to it if it pulls back. Will likely sell after the add to the NASDAQ 100. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, that lockup's going to be staggered over a period of time. I think, most of it's, or at least a good portion of it's going to be unlocked by that 180-day period. SPY looks like 755 could be a resistance area. We'll see if that happens. I know that some folks were looking for 760. Curious to see what happens at 755.
Yeah, and it looks like we're actually going to try and push higher here.
Speaking of pushing higher, QNTM is pushing into the pre-market high.
Got it, QNTM.
A little bit of consolidation there out of the gate, and now we're getting through that resistance at 58.
Big B saying there should be a nice run-up into the add to the NASDAQ 100 plan accordingly. I'm all out of SpaceX when I gain. So you're not out of it yet, Sergeant Sexy, but you're looking to do that here when you're up 22%. And that was from your IPO allocation, correct, Sergeant
Right.
Sexy? Did your broker give you any restrictions or what they would like you to do? G-Man says, I like the long wick on SPY. You bullish view on that long wick? It was a long wick to the downside that very quickly got bought up.
What time frame is this?
I see it on my 1 minute chart on in my broker. Let's see what we got on the pro chart here. Yep, I have it here. Look, I think it's this long wick that he's talking about down to 751.
Oh, that shakeout wick? That's kind of what it looks like.
Now, Lion here says, I just wait when SpaceX reports earnings and then I buy it cheaper. So you're not the only one thinking that. I'm kind of interested about that too. Its first earnings is going to happen in August, and I wonder if that's like the first reality shock, if you will, that it gets. Be curious to see how that earnings report goes.
Well, okay, so I'm glad that we brought up the earnings because there's going to be some other events to keep an eye out for that could affect the price action prior to that. So we already know that it's not going to be until either late July, early August when we do get that earnings. And I think a lot of analysts have been citing the August 11th date as the possible day for the Q2 earnings. So mark that on your calendar. It's going to be, sometime early mid-August. That's what the expectation is for SpaceX earnings. Prior to that, we're going to have a launch, maybe two launches of the Starship, the Mega Heavy or whatever it is that they want to call it. But the Starship rocket is due to launch in the next 4 to 6 weeks, actually 3 to 5 weeks now. If everything goes perfectly, it could be sooner than that. I don't know that it's going to launch before July 4th, although it would be spectacular to have that happen on the 4th of July. But that's not going to happen because they don't launch on holidays or weekends due to an agreement they signed. So you could get that. That launch is certainly going to happen. We're going to have one launch prior to earnings. We might get a second. And if we do, it's going to happen possibly right around the time of earnings. So just a couple of things to watch for. That could, these test flights, I think they're going to materially affect the stock.
Okay. RGNT, we talked about this one in an upside halt. Wiss, you were on this one earlier. RGNT looks like this broke and went higher out of that halt now. Solar also green to red. That makes sense. And then what was Nikhil saying Ryan in 13. I'm not remembering correctly. I thought the war ending would be good for Microsoft. I actually haven't even taken a look at Microsoft, and I haven't noticed anything on the unusual options either. Microsoft trading higher by about 2% here today. I would say that this is good for Microsoft.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, just looking at the daily chart, 13, sorry. What do you think about a recapture of 400 and maybe a move back to the 4 and teens?
Oh, I like this reversal price action.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's see a recapture of the 20-week. I think that's what I'd want to see first. Let's see a recapture of the 20-week SMA, close above it for a few weeks. And then, I think that's, I don't want to, try to guess what price action is going to happen afterwards. But to me, it looks like the 20-week SMA is something that needs to be recaptured. And then you have like 425, 424.25 is the next resistance area above that.
BJM, I like this. I wonder if this is a sell the news event. The bulls stalled as soon as the real sellers hit the book. And I think what you're talking about here is just the broader market and how it's impacting some of these other stocks. I noticed that SpaceX, while it was making a little bit of a push there, that kind of stalled there at 175. But as far as the SPY goes here, so sellers did come in as soon as this traded up towards 754. Were you saying, 13, that you wanted to see what happened at 755 on the SPY? Was that the level that you gave earlier? Okay, so we're just shy of that. We'll see if we end up getting up there. It might be too early in the day, BJM. And you know what? Looking at the SPY, we'll see if this breaks VWAP to the downside. I do have it at 752.72. So if this breaks that to the downside, maybe we do sell off a little bit here. So far, this looks like just kind of a break after a nice little move up. Just my 2 cents on it.
QTech's another quantum name being mentioned. That's up 23%. This one, pretty new issue. Only been around for, looks like a few weeks. IPO'd, or let me see if this is an actual IPO, May 19th. Let's see here. Is this IPO?
I actually did just get a buy signal on my 0 DTE indicator.
Oh,
for those of you that are interested.
So I guess we're going beyond 755. I'll have to look into this one some more. But thanks for bringing this up. QTrex.
QTEX. Okay. And then really quick, what did I miss here? Oh, Forsman, thank you. You were looking at VUZI. This was another one that was making a move recently. Here's VUZI. You said that's up 11% here today?
That is up.
Indeed it is. VUZI, this looks like this is going 350. Do we have news, Chris?
Let's see.
No, but June 16th. Okay, so annual meeting of shareholders to be held tomorrow on VUZI. Stock is higher by 10.25% ahead of that. I don't know what's going to be voted on that or why that would be important, though.
They're going to be providing product and technology demos prior to the meeting's start.
Okay.
I'll see what they have to show us then.
Okay.
This also has a short interest of 17.75%, only 2.78 days to cover.
Lion, guys, have a great day. Just came back to North Carolina, driving 10 hours from New Jersey. Was no fun. I'm going to pick up my dog. Hopefully your dog's okay. You tell me you must have had a good time at that game, especially early in the game. I mean, you must have had a good time, but we'll see you tomorrow, Lion.
Take care, Len. What are people complaining about with SpaceX, Jay? Where do they have to complain? Stock's up. Where are they complaining?
Yeah, I don't think there is anything to complain about on that personally. I mean, I guess they just want to see it go up and up and up and up all of the time, but
they want to see stage 2 separation. They want to see low Earth orbit. What do they want? Yeah. Well, RCAT hit 1215, struggling to get go any higher. But we are kind of broadening up here, so we could maybe push higher if we do get ourselves a megaphone pattern.
I had a great time, and it was an epic experience. I bet you did. And I literally, when I was watching that game, and I was like, oh my God, the Moroccan Atlas Lions. No wonder Lion Atlas likes this team. Like, it all made sense all in the moment.
Space name's really taking it on the chin right now.
And sell signal here on the SPY 0 DTE put. That gave just about 13 cents on that, 15 actually. But it does say sell here. Another one. So maybe this is a top. We'll see here. 704.10 looks to be the top there. Looks like President Trump is landing in Switzerland as we speak. Well, he went right from the UFC to Europe. That's crazy. Eric said, I was hoping to see Elon at the White House event. Didn't they join via a virtual conference when they did the open for SpaceX on Friday? I'd imagine he's probably tied up with work stuff for that. Dr. Manred, your buy signal is helpful. I'll keep shouting it out. Look, if you guys think it's helpful, I'll keep shouting it out. I'd love to release this at some point. I just, the biggest thing for me about some of these indicators is that I have a worry about people relying on them and then losing money. Like, I really don't want to be responsible for something that causes people to lose money. The indicator has been helping me. You folks have been giving me excellent feedback on it. So I feel like I'm close to something. I'm just nervous. I'm just nervous. Your own due diligence. Get in there, 13.
Real quick for those that were asking the Oracle resistance. Eric, I think you were asking. 198.50 is going to be my resistance area. That's your gap fill area. We had this gap down on their earnings, spent a couple of days beneath the 50-day SMA. We're trading back above it right now. We even leaned on it earlier today for some support. If this continues higher, if you look at the open for Wednesday, which is where the real body begins, that's at exactly 198.50. That would be my resistance level. Obviously, 200 is going to be another resistance area right in the same area. So 198.50 to 200. That's your next resistance. We managed to get through that. I think you'd be looking at the 20 and day SMA and the 200-day SMA, which are also right in that same area around 205.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that, with Oracle. I think you're spot on with that.
All right.
Joe saying, Ryan, did I hear right that you had a SPY buy and sell signal within a couple minutes of each other? Yes, you heard that correct. When you are trading 0 DTEs, sometimes that's exactly what happens. Now, sometimes we get one of these huge pushes where it's, 20 minutes in between. You get a big spike in the SPY, but the one here today, there was only maybe 2 minutes in between the buy and the sell. Yes.
There's a comment here, Trey Blue saying GEV had a decent swing turn up for the moment. Yeah, it did. It came down to 855, 856, found support. It's come back up to the 20-day SMA, and this is important because this has so far been a resistance moving average. We've tried to recapture it on May 26th. It actually closed above it. The very next day was right beneath it, and we went lower and lower. So I think this 20-day SMA, we need to see multiple closes above that if we're going to continue with the upside. What is encouraging is that I have this trend line that I started from the high on April 23rd. I I drew it through the high of May 6th. And if you keep that going, this current candle that we have today broke over this trend line and is using it as support. So for the moment, that's encouraging, but I think we need to get back above the 20-day SMA and see multiple closes above it. Yep, daily chart, yep. Yep. It does look like this is turning around. I do like the way the MACD is turning back to toward the upside, but that 20-day SMA, we need to start closing above it, in my opinion.
Okay. Dr. Manred says, we're in the business of probability, not certainty. I am so thankful that you understand that. But Dr. Manred, turns out not everybody has the same level of understanding that you do. But you're absolutely right on that. EWM community, DXYZ thoughts. The crash is getting ridiculous. So I actually haven't looked at this. I'll tell you what, though. We looked at this when this was like touted as the only way to get a hold of SpaceX, right? Like long before the IPO. We actually had several folks doing some due diligence that said it didn't really own as much as it was kind of being talked about. I'll be honest with you. Now that it is available, I am not terribly surprised to see this action here. Now, right? Like to me, this used to be the exclusive way where you could get in on it. Now it's out. So
the one thing that made it special is gone.
There's an easy way to sum it up. Thank you, 13. Just the way with words here. The one thing that made it special is gone now. Now, as far as you asking if it's, the crash is it oversold? It's basically right back to where it was trading sideways. So to me, this looks like the SpaceX hype premium got sold there, and we're right back to where we started.
Yeah, and I think you're probably going to see this come in some more. If 25 doesn't hold up, then I think your support's going to be between 20 and 25, somewhere in there. Can't say exactly where, but that's what it looks like to me, that your support's going to be in that range, that $5 range, if we don't get that support from the $25 level.
And then Zach here, then that was a good short. You're right. And you know what? Shame on us for not putting this together. We were so focused on everything else SpaceX related, including some of the other plays that had been monsters for us, that we didn't even look at this. But you're right. That would have been a great short from here.
All that we got this, we had glitter in our eyes with all these multiple 100% runners that were happening every day. So yeah, we totally had this off our radar when we had all these other great trades happening. Excellent point, but still, we had a great time, and this was a good short.
And that's a really good example of why the community can be extremely powerful. Had we been talking about DXYZ 3 weeks ago, maybe we would have uncovered that. Shout out to you for bringing that up. Sorry, it's down. It sounds like you're waiting for that to trade back up.
There was just so much to look at in the past month. RCAT still holding above 12 for now. So what was resistance is now support for the time being. I did see something here. So CUPR, no, it's halted down for the second time after hitting 1480 off of a run that started $10 ago. So this is now halted at 1121. It's coming down towards the VWAP. I have VWAP at pretty much $10 exactly, 10.03. So there's your support area. If we lose that, next one I see is going to be closer to 750.
EWM community saying, oh, well, got to sell it. What I would do, just to kind of make sure you do all of the due diligence, and I don't know the answer here, so I'm sorry I don't know the answer ahead of time, but I would look and see what other private entities that thing might have exposure to. Might you have another kind of halo effect when Anthropic or OpenAI gets talked about or is in the IPO news cycle? See if there's maybe another way out of that. I don't know what else is in the holdings list there off the top of my head, but that would be something else I'd look for.
So I'm just kind of, waiting to see if this is the case, because I really do want to trade these SpaceX ETFs. So I'm trying to get a sense for where these the support and resistance is for the underlying, and it looks to me like we're starting to really get a serious resistance area out of 175, because we've had multiple visits up there today. All have been rejected. This is the latest one. It couldn't even get up to 175. I think that's going to be the trade, at least for now. I don't want to lean on that, because watch the next visit up there be the breakout. But so far that's been working out. this trades up to 175. You go short there, and you sell it when it you stop going short when it trades underneath VWAP. So far this morning, that's how it's worked. I don't know if that's going to continue though.
Yeah, you're right about that. And 13, to your point here, looking at SNK, it looks like if I'm just assigning numbers to the action of the underlying that you were just talking about, it sure looks like 2075 was about the bottom there when SpaceX was running up to that 175 resistance. And now SNK, remember, this is the 2x short SpaceX levered ETF. This thing up, 60 cents from that spot? So to your point, you bring up a really good point about wanting to trade these, but kind of develop. They're brand new as of 9:30 this morning, so developing a feel for how these actually move with respect to the underlying, I think, is step one. I would say this. I'm sure you're going to, but don't be shy with your thoughts on that. We've done a great job doing that with RGTZ and RGTI. Let's see if we can do the same thing here with SpaceX.
And we had a lot more data to go off of with RGTZ and. There was a whole theme there. Not that there isn't one with this, but it was funny, especially with Rigetti, because there was so many people saying, "Oh, this thing is absolute crap. Look at the headquarters; it's like a shack." Yeah. And now they're getting $1 billion or whatever from the CHIPS Act. It's kind of funny that we're here with this, but we just need to see what we can get out of this, what kind of how it trades, and that'll give us at least a framework to go on if we're going to hit the GraniteShares.
BJM, we already have SpaceX levered ETFs. Yep, interviewed the GraniteShares CEO on the program this morning prior to the open. Have options even started trading yet? No, they have not. They start tomorrow. Yeah. So we actually got the levered ETFs a day before the options, but have no fear, you're going to end up getting that tomorrow.
And now here's the next test of 175. Watch this be the one that we've traded up into an ascending triangle that it breaks out. That'd be hilarious.
And then very slightly included diamond. I wouldn't be surprised if it stays in that 175 resistance to earnings. So again, if that's the case, if that 175 level stays as significant resistance till earnings, that is going to make a great marker for us to actually trade some of these ETFs. And to BJM's point, the options when those are released.
Oh, yeah, that strike might get a lot of attention.
Indeed. Take care, Bruce. We'll catch you tomorrow. We'll be back at this bright and early tomorrow. Remember, T3 Tuesday tomorrow.
How come no one asking about Intel doing well on a calendar bull spread? Intel's been fantastic. Let's see where it's at today. So it's back up here at the all-time highs, testing the all-time highs again. This looks like it's got a megaphone pattern here. I would be thinking that a breakout should come at some point over 133. That would based on this pattern, that would be my expectation. Don't know what the catalyst is. It's going to take it over 133, but looks like it wants to go higher.
What a spot here for Intel. I'm glad you guys brought this. Ed says it's hard to be a bear in a bull market. Facts. Yes, it is. And I'll tell you something else. On the flip side, in my opinion, it's actually easier to be a bull in a bear market than it is to be a bear in a bull market. Because if you're a bull in a bear market, you can spend your time kind of researching fundamentals. 13 talks about this all the time. You can make your lists of stocks that you're looking for. You can kind of be patient, wait out some of these moves, and then add or trade around it. With the flip side, it's tough. I feel like bears get squeezed often.
In this market, they have been. CUPR, this down to the VWAP now after unhalting. This is going lower. Looks like you're going to go into another halt as well. So that was fun, but this party's over for now. It looks like.
Oh man, you're right. This thing halted beneath its VWAP on that crack there.
All right, so looking back at some of the movers from this morning, Cast hasn't really done a whole lot. It's lower than from the open. JRSH, same thing. CTM, same thing. Just not really great for the movers this morning. That's okay, because there was a bunch of other stuff that was trading better, and I think that might have a lot to do with why the movers aren't so great, because all this attention is being paid to a lot of different names as a result of the end to that conflict, or at least the memorandum of understanding.
Okay, so SPY here. This is interesting. This is actually coming back into VWAP. So far, it is holding. See if it sets up for another move here. I actually did get a buy signal there, but I did not take it myself. So no position for me on SPY. I got 2 very quick buy signals there. Let me zoom in on this. I'll keep you posted. Yep. I'll be damned.
Here's SpaceX back up at 175. We'll see if this is the break over 175 or not.
Oops.
Looks like it's don't even. I was going to say, it looks like it was about to go into an upside halt, but it was a big break through 175. There it is. And oh, wow.
And then it pulled.
I'm not touching that right now, but that was just fun to watch. Goes right down the
oh my gosh. And I'm looking at SNK. I put an order out at $21 even, and it instantly popped to $21.24. So those things are moving. So no position for me on that either. Orders pulled. Well, G-Man saying, wow, a ton of short orders on SpaceX 175. Look, the one thing that we have learned for certain here today is that 175 is a key level on SpaceX. By the way, market continuing to push higher here. I have a total of 3 buy signals on my 0 DTE indicator there. No position for me, but that is rolling. SpaceX continuing to pull off that 175 rejection 13. Wow.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
I'm not even upset that I didn't get filled on this trade, because we're still in data building mode. But man, SNK, SPAL, SPCX, these are going to be must watches every day. Yeah. Market is trying to continue its bounce here too. We'll see.
Yeah, the SpaceX
just got a sell signal. Just got a sell signal. Sorry.
The SpaceX trying to push back up, but it's starting to look like it's getting tired here.
See if there's anything else out there.
Yeah, let's see what happens here with this one. If this can get back over 174, maybe there's still some gas in the tank.
Meta, I'm seeing Meta getting mentioned on FinTwit. I haven't looked at that chart yet today.
Let's look.
Let's do that.
This has got a reversal happening here after it went down to, what is it, like 560, 558, something like that. It's going to have a time trying to recapture 600, in my opinion. That was a big level that needed to hold up. Now that it's been trading underneath it, that's a tough resistance level to get back over. That would be my big question. Can we recapture 600? I'm not so sure right now.
Okay. Trend's still clearly down here in Meta too. Daniel says shorts at 175 on SpaceX, huge psych level. So far, again, that we have learned that 175 is indeed key.
Oh, it's more than a psych level.
Yeah, it's going to be a straight up key level.
It's a share and lock event.
I like this comment too. BLM, I like this. Trend is your friend. Don't volunteer to be liquidity. I may reuse that. I like that a lot. Do not volunteer to be liquidity. Indeed. Joe, Ryan, is there a single time scale associated with your 0 DTE specific? What do you mean? Like, I look at 1 minute charts only on this. And then as far as the other time thing, remember, there's only 2 trade windows. The first trade window is 9:35 to 9:50, and the second trade window is 10 to 11, 10 to 10:20. So that window just ended 2 minutes ago.
Lots of stuff pulling here. Quantum names are pulling.
Wasn't Oost ripping earlier? OUST. Jay Rice, maybe you had mentioned that earlier. Someone threw this in the chat. I just can't place who it was. I'm sorry about that.
I did see that earlier. This had a gap up went to the all-time. Is this the all-time highs? No, it's not. Went to the highs from earlier this month. Not able to get back above, get back up there. It looks like $50 could be a resistance area, but it's running into resistance earlier than that. This price action from 2022 is, I think, what I'd be keeping an eye on. That's where your 50 resistance is. Well,
and market actually looks like it's trying to turn up here. So very, very interesting. That, again, no position for me, so it's much easier for me to watch this when I've got nothing on the line. But it looks like SPY so far is holding VWAP. Doesn't want to give this up yet.
It looks like these movers from this morning are trying to get some support. Maybe keep an eye on these. See if they start trading higher.
Yeah.
GPU's actually over its VWAP right now. The SME,
Joe says my spidey senses is bear traps are being laid.
Yeah, kind of feels like that, doesn't it?
Kind of does.
VSME, this is kind of interesting because this has struggled, and it probably just is a volume thing, but this has struggled to get over its VWAP all session. It was resistance all throughout the pre-market. It's been resistance all throughout the regular session, and every time it tries to print over it, the VWAP goes, get back in your hole.
Yeah. VWAP definitely suppressing this. By the way, SpaceX, oh my, that SNK trade, I'm disappointed I didn't get filled on that. That was called perfectly live in the chat here. Here's SpaceX. This is now pulling to 170, looks to be the next level that it has to hold. But the good stuff here, or the trade here on this 175 rejection, was on that brand new 2x levered ETF, SNK. Look at this. 21 was what I tried to get filled at. We printed 2190 already. This thing just traded too quickly for me to actually get filled. But boy, oh boy, that spot. This is awesome. Data point 1 intact, 13.
Yeah, and I think this might be the reversal spot if it can hold above the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. That's been giving it some pretty good support this morning. This would be the third candle down. So if we do get a move beneath the 65 EMA and a recapture within this candle, we could be seeing a reversal here. So I think watch this candle, see what it does.
So you mean a reversal in SpaceX back up towards 175?
Yeah.
And that would mean SPAL would be your vehicle of choice at that point.
Yeah. So we'll see if this 65 EMA provides the support. We'll know that we've got ourselves a reversal once it recaptures VWAP.
I love it. There's your trade plan. Love it, 13.
GPU is still climbing higher. This is a penny stock. I don't know why I keep looking at this, but it just keeps moving. So let's see. Quantum names might be getting some support. Ionic down at 65 EMA. Same thing with Inflection, both getting support down in that area.
Right. I'm a millennial. I think I'm considered a millennial leader, right? Because I'm in the early batch of millennials. Ryan, do you remember the game Baseball Stars for Nintendo? It was probably the best non-MLB licensed game on NES, made by a company called SNK. I do not. I remember Ken Griffey Jr.'s baseball. Okay, I lost so many hours to that game. Good Lord. All right. So SPY is just kind of trading sideways. The action looks like it wants to go higher, but it just has not shown it has the strength to do that yet. Did you want to answer, JD?
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of what you're talking about, and I could have sworn, because SNK made a lot of the Neo Geo games, and I'm trying to think of what game it is you're talking about, because Baseball Stars, I could have sworn, wasn't that for Neo Geo? Let me double check this.
By the way, SpaceX holding the 65 EMA, that so far has worked. SPAL is trading up on that. Well, 13 looks that up. And just interrupt if you need to, 13. I'm just trying to go through go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, Baseball Stars was on the Neo Geo, but they did have an NES version that was a less detailed console version. So it did come out for both those. It was SNK, but yeah, they made. I remember playing this game. This was a fun game because you could just. It was like kind of over the top baseball, but this was a fun game to play. I remember playing this at. There was like a place where they had a whole bunch of consoles that you could play called Wizardrome. This was fun. Thanks for bringing this up. This was good. But yeah, the SNK did make that game, and it was on Neo Geo. Yep. Neo Geo.
I love when other people my age just randomly bring me down memory lane. Mm-hmm. By the way, I was actually driving around town here recently, and I noticed that there's a street around me literally called Memory Lane. It would be pretty cool to live on that street.
That's awesome.
Folks, 2 minutes till the end of our Monday show here. This has been a great start to the week. S&P futures up near highs here. S&P futures holding higher here by 1.58%. Dow futures holding higher by 1.22%. NASDAQ absolutely smoking, plus 2.65% here today.
Sounds like.
And we got some more information on SpaceX.
Sounds like something else is smoking, and the fire department was on the way to go put it out.
Yeah, this street here is kind of it is gorgeous here in Chicago, and I mean absolutely gorgeous. I got all the windows open. You got the bird sounds, you got the fire department sounds. Pretty soon you're going to be hearing someone yell 4 as they slice their drive into the street. That's coming.
Okay, so just GPUs still climbing. We're about to print a new not a new, well, it's a new session high, but it's coming up to the pre-market highs as well. The highest it went was out of the gate at 27 cents, but some of these highs at 23 we're approaching right now. CUPR, this looks like we found some support down around 850. It looks like 870. Trying to recapture the VWAP. Not sure we're going to get it. CTM still sideways. RCAT coming back in. JRSH trying to reverse, as is CAST, but not able to climb up yet. These are still struggling.
All right, 13. We are out of time here for today. Any closing words for the group?
Well, folks, welcome to the other side of SpaceX. I think we're seeing the dawn of a whole new era. Let's see if that's the case. It's going to be a fun time. Let's make sure we get our capital ready for some trades, which there will be a lot of. But until then, have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of wherever you're at. In Ryan's case, Illinois. In my case, Houston. And take care, folks. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
All right. Thank you, 13. Really good stuff here today. Remember, it is a truncated week, so only 4 days here today. We're off on Friday for Juneteenth. Folks, have a great rest of your Monday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Be sure to join us again tomorrow as we do it all again, 8 a.m. Eastern time. Have a great